Hello, good evening, and welcome to Poker Night Live. I'm Kara Scott, and with me is none other than James Browning, and for the next 4 hours, we're here bringing you all that Internet Texas Hold'em has to offer, aren't we?
Yes, welcome back, Kara.
Thank you very much.
You've been back to your roots.
I have. I was in Canada for a couple of weeks, and I've really missed Poker Night Live, although that being said, I did watch it, I emailed in, and I played on the TV table, so I haven't really had a vacation.
All right. So you've actually been playing more poker than ever.
I actually have, and I was teaching my family to play, and don't think badly of me, but my 8-year-old niece is now better than I am. I know. I had to actually stop playing with her and just tell her to go to bed because it was embarrassing at that point. So.
Yeah, you just find something else she's done wrong and say, sorry, you'll have to stop now.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's time for bed, and you know it. She's really aggressive. She's got a really good head for it, that's all I'm going to say. I think, in years to come.
What about Mum? Does she play?
She does now, yeah. She's been playing as well, and I'm going to try and get her to play on some of the TV tables, and I'm sure she's watching as well. So, hi, Mum. And she's actually quite good. She is quite good, so who knows?
Like fun.
It's a whole family affair.
Family affair, the Scott family.
That's right, the Scott family, or the Fletchers as well, or the rest of them, but there you go. Now, the rest of you out there, the rest of our poker family, if you want to text in or email in, let us know any of your questions or comments, indeed, about poker, anything that you see on the show that sparks your interest. There you go. It is poker, and you're going to text the word poker and your questions to 84222. And that will come to us here in the studio. That's a new number, so make sure that you put the word poker in there first. Or you can send questions at poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. And it is amateur or beginner night here, so any questions are welcome. Any and all questions are welcome, poker related. We're here to answer those questions, or you are, in fact. For the first hour, we're going to be showing you some cash games, some tournaments, some multi-table tournament action. In the second hour, I will be playing on the Beat the Presenter slot. I can't wait. I'm very excited. I've just absolutely fallen in love with playing poker the last couple of weeks. So.
I think she's looking really geared up for tonight as well.
As Nick would say, it's the eye of the chaffinch. Ooh. I tell you, steely. I'm absolutely steeled for this. So, and then the third hour, you get to watch how I did. You get to comment on it and let me know how I've done.
Yep.
Get a little bit of
I'm looking forward
feedback.
to it. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too, me too. Well, let's take a look and see what games we've got for you tonight. Let's do the round robin.
Let's have a look. Right, we're kicking off here with a 25 50-cent cash game. We have a full table. And there's Loomis there, one of the regulars, popping in a 50 cents with his Queen 4. He likes to play funny hands, does Loomis. And here's a $5 sit and go. It's at the first level, 10-20. Here's a double the price, $10, also at the first level. And we'll change the colour. Yes, you know what it means. It's MTT time. Multi-table tournament. I can tell you there were 110 runners tonight, and we will be revisiting the multi-table tournament throughout the night and definitely making it a date to join them for the final, where there's normally quite a lot of play.
That sounds good to me. And we have been showing on Sundays as well the qualifiers for the Poker Night Live Bowl, which is all very exciting. That's going to happen tomorrow night. We'll talk to you a bit more about that as the show goes on, and there's always more information on the forum as well on our Poker Zone website, Poker Night Live website. So there you go. But let's take a look at the MTT. Get a feel for some of the players on the table.
Yes, good idea. We'll have a little flit around the tables and see if we can pick our winner.
Right, who feels good at the moment? It's quite early, of course, to tell, but...
It is. In fact, this is the starting level. It's 10-20. You can see that at the top there in the little rectangle where it says blinds, 10/20. That's the blind. Small blind, big blind. Small blind's PLC, big blind is the Pershaw, or the Pershaw. And Frank there, pair of deuces. He's decided to do a flat raise. By that I mean he's just re-raised the size of the big blind. So he's gone 20 with 20, making 40. He's got everyone else, in fact got everyone to pass. Wow.
That is surprising.
Yep, he's was quite early position there when he made that bet. He was just one away from being under the gun. Under the gun's the first person to speak after the big blind. So that was a small raise from early position. He got a lot of respect. Well, people are being cautious here. We've got Ace-Jack just limping in. They're just trying to see if they can snag a big pot here, I think. And this is not a bad principle to follow.
Yeah, sometimes in the early stages, when the blinds are quite low, would you say that it's a good idea to limp in? Just
Yes,
to make up
I think you can limp in as long as you're prepared to get away from the hand. If you don't connect, however good that hand looks or looked pre-flop, as long as you're prepared to get away from it, there's no harm in trying to play it trickily, limping in or whatever, because you can just try to connect. If you don't connect, just get rid of it, no problem. It's only cost you 20, and you've got 1,500 to start with. You can afford to have a little look.
Yeah.
Whereas you don't want to be really making aggressive raises. Part of the thing with a raise later on is that you might actually just take down the blinds anyway. But you don't particularly want to be getting into trouble with an aggressive raise with a mediocre hand, because winning the blinds is not much of a reward. It's only 30 chips, 20 plus 10. And because other people are going to be playing tighter in the early stages, the sort of person who's going to be calling you a raise is going to have a big hand.
Absolutely.
So you're going to be walking into a nightmare, especially when you make a raise with a ordinary hand.
Yeah.
And certain players will play very tight at the beginning. So you will only get action from even bigger hands, big pairs probably.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a nightmare scenario.
It is. That's where King-Queen or Ace-King could be a very difficult hand to play.
Ace-Queens, the ones that are really vulnerable here are, you know, they're going to be your King-Queen, your Ace-Queen, your Ace-Jack, your Ace-10.
Yeah.
Later on in the tournament, when the blinds get higher, now we will be more aggressive, because we say, well, hang on, I'll be quite happy to take those blinds. That's quite a percentage of my stack, the sum of those two blinds. So when that's the case, then you've got your 3 Rs, you've got your risk-reward ratio, then it's correct to do it. Early stages, you haven't got the 3 Rs, and then you can try some other methods early stages.
Okay.
So all the time you're monitoring your stack in relation to the size of the blinds.
Right, so your stack in relation to the blinds, in relation to the stacks of the rest of the people at the table.
Yes, that's very good, yes. You're looking, everything, you take into account everything. But this will determine for you how much play you've got.
Right.
This is, your stack sort of relates to time, and it's the time you've got to be able to find a proper hand. Right, we're going to have a little, we're going to flick through the table here, and I think we're on a search here to find the chip leader.
I see. Well, that would be Ray Cool in seat 8. He's
got
right,
4,000
chips.
He's done well there. He's almost
really
tripled, hasn't he?
Wow.
Started with 1,500 and he's almost tripled it. Ray Cool.
So, is it a good time to start accumulating chips? That's a silly question. It sounds like a silly question, but would you play more aggressively in the beginning of a tournament to accumulate those chips, to have them, to give you more play towards the end?
No, I wouldn't, because now you'd be risking. If you know, if I'm going to accumulate a lot of chips early stages, I'll have had a monster hand.
Right, yeah. I know what you mean. I was playing a few days ago.
I'll have had a very big hand, and I'll have been against a player who is overplaying for the early stages of the tournament. Yeah. And I will have caught him, and I'll have got all his chips.
That's absolutely it. It happened to me last week, actually. It was the first hand in the tournament. The very first hand, I got pocket aces, which is fantastic. I was in early position even, and I ended up betting out against someone, and the flop came down with another ace, so then I had triple aces.
What a dream.
It was amazing, and he just didn't believe it. He did not buy that the first hand of a tournament I would actually get two aces, and I cleaned out his entire stack.
Yeah, so you doubled up straight away.
I did.
And that is great. Now that's a justifiable way of doubling your stack.
Right.
And I will go back to what I said. I haven't said it on the show for a while, but I'll go back to saying it. In the early stages of a multi-table tournament, or even the early stage of a sit and go, you really need to have a really good excuse to go out with just one pair or something. It doesn't matter how big it is. Your aces became a different proposition because they connected with the flop. Yeah. They became a monster. They became the best possible trips. But when someone said, oh, I can't believe this, you know, I had a pair of jacks, and you go, what? You lost your whole stack in the early stage of the tournament when the blinds were nothing with one pair. Yeah. What were you doing?
Yeah. What were you thinking?
What were you doing?
I mean,
so therefore, it's later on the tournament, it could be justifiable to lose your stacks with ace high because it's got to be in relation to how much time you've got left. But early stages, you've got time. And so you've got time to be selective. And that's one of the powers that a poker player can have, is to be selective. Now, you can still, as a poker player, be looking for opportunities, i.e. watch your players if you know the players if you know, for example, let's supposing I know there's two very, very tight players on the small blind and the big blind, and it's come all the way around to me on the button.
Yep.
Well, now I'll say, well, listen, I know they only call with A, B, or C.
Yeah.
Well, okay, now I can just put in a raise, even though it's for the small blind. I said, well, the chances of them having that hand, my risk-reward is just about right here anyway. And if they come over the top or they'll cough even, I'll put my chips down, I'll pass. So it's possible you could still see an odd occasion when you could just make a move if you saw it was right. But early on, it's generally not right, because 30 is nothing. You've got 1,500 and you put 30 on top, you don't know the difference. So you shouldn't be risking your life.
Yeah.
And it boils down to that in these tournaments, you want to risk your life the least number of times possible.
Absolutely, because then the odds go down that you will actually go out of the tournament.
Well, the analogy I give is if we just think about the Grand National. If you take any of the entries, even the worst horse in the Grand National, and you ask him to jump any of the fences, he's favourite to jump the fence. So if you take the worst horse and say, OK, try and jump Becher's Brook. Yeah, he's favoured to jump it. Of course he is. He's a big favourite to jump it.
Otherwise he wouldn't be there,
Yeah, he's favoured to jump any of the individual fences. But that poor old horse, to get round there twice, he's a big underdog to get round there twice, although he's favoured to jump any individual fence. Because it's a problem, a problem, a problem, a problem.
Right.
And eventually, one of these problems catches him up. So therefore, every time in a tournament, our Grand National is, every time we risk all our chips, we're jumping a Grand National fence. So think of it like that. So all in, oh gosh, this is Becher's Brook. All in, this is the chair. All in, all the different fences. So each time, we might have been favoured. Oh, well, I can't believe it. I had ace, I was a 55% favourite. Yeah, wonderful. I was 6-4 on, okay. But one fence, next fence, next fence. It's the Grand National. So therefore, the principle is that we don't want to risk all our chips. We want to risk all our chips as few times as possible.
Right.
So therefore, instead of, for other people, the Grand National being 30 fences or whatever, we would like to make it 10 fences for us. We want to reduce the number of fences because there's more chances that we get round.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. Give yourself fewer problems or fewer potential...
Can you get in tune with that little analogy?
I can get in tune with that analogy. In fact, I watched the Grand National
2
weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and I enjoyed it very much. It was the first time I'd watched it. And I can see that every single time you push all in, you are risking no matter what, because you don't know for certain what your opponent has. You can guess, or you can make a really educated guess, but you just don't know.
But it's one more time, and that just multiplies. That just becomes harder and harder to achieve.
Right. I'm going to keep that in mind, write that down.
So therefore, in these tournaments, any time we can say, OK, I'll just take this down without a showdown, nothing wrong with that, because we've just avoided one of the fences.
OK. That sounds good to me. All right, well, I'm going to keep that in mind for my tournament coming up next hour. But for now, we're going to go to a cash game and take a look and see how the differences affect people's play.
And of course, the big differences here are, of course, that in the cash game, and this is a 25-cent, 50-cent cash game, maximum buy-in $50, minimum buy-in $5. And the biggest difference is, of course, to the tournament is that in the cash game, the blinds stay the same. So therefore, if you've got, sit down with $50, you've got 100 big blinds. You've got loads of play. You've got loads of time, which means you've got time to be selective.
In fact, you were telling me this earlier, that for me, as a beginner player, I've been playing tournaments. I've never played a cash game, but it would be a good thing for me to do.
In fact, that's right. Kara and I were talking before the show, and we were having a look at the site or whatever, discussing different things. And I said to Kara, I said, actually, because now she's really getting into the poker, I said, now... it's good, keep on playing your sit and goes, but a lot of it's going to be pre-flop and some big all-in stuff, etc., etc. But I now said that for the improvement of a game, it'll be good to go into a cash game, where you have... Go into a cash game, you can afford to buy in for the maximum. And therefore, you then have quite a lot of play. And now, to start with, I would go in probably... I'd probably go into the 10-seater to start with, where you could even be more selective, etc., etc. Take your time. And now you'll have more decisions to make. And in fact, I was saying to Kara, it might well be, so she doesn't get overawed or whatever, it might be even good to go into a pot limit game where the size of the pot is more controlled. And in fact, the good thing about that is you'll have more decisions to make. You'll have decisions about whether you want to build up the size of the pot because you've got the sort of hand, if you connect, you want to be able to charge them good money for it.
Of course.
Or you want to say, oh, I don't like the situation if I can keep this as small as possible so he can't bet me out of it. So there's all these different things come in. But somewhere along the line, this is definitely what you're going to have to do, and this will help to improve your understanding of the game.
That sounds good to me, because I've, like I say, I've really gotten into it the last couple of weeks, and I actually won my first tournament. I was so excited. It was only a small tournament.
Was there a whoop?
There was. Oh, I was dancing around.
Oh, you did?
Dancing around. I couldn't believe it when I won. It was so much fun. And then I went on and I won. I came in third in the next. I went to a bigger tournament.
Right.
And I came in third, and it was the best feeling. It was so much fun. Yeah, so now I'm going to start expanding my knowledge of poker. I even played a game of Omaha, although that was by accident entirely.
You sat on the wrong table,
place, and I had no idea what the rules were.
Did you do okay in it or
something? I did as well. It was quite sad. I went and checked out the rules online, just basically what to do, how to play. And I didn't do too bad. I actually came in the top, it was 10, I guess it was either 10 or 12. It was a big game. And I think I came out fourth.
Okay,
so
that's pretty good,
for my first game of Omaha.
Of course, it is called Omaha Hold'em, is his technical name.
Okay.
So it's obviously very related to Hold'em. The only difference being, or the main difference being that, well, you get you get 4 cards instead of 2.
Yeah.
In the classical Omaha game, you can have other variations with 5 and 6, but you get 4 cards, and the thing is, you have to use 2 cards from your hand.
Yeah.
So you use 2 cards from your hand and 3 from the flop.
Yeah.
But basically, it's still very related to Hold'em. It's the same looking flop, etc., etc.
It's an interesting variation. I enjoyed it, and I think it may have given me an idea. I don't know, just some sort of different insight into poker in general.
Just make you think again. It would just get your poker brain working and having to have a different problem thrown up for you to consider. And that's good. That's good because and that's why I'm going to guide you along to playing some small cash games, so that you get you exercise your poker brain, which is important.
I think you're absolutely right. I do. I found that myself this last week, so I'm all for that. And
in that one, you'll also, in fact, once you get really good at it, you can probably even do, you could do a sit and go, and you could even have the cash game at the side there, 10 city, because it's quite slow. Well, you could soon get there. And this will make you really selective in your cash game, because I'd want you to be very selective in the cash game.
Right.
And if you were just sat there for that, I could just be a bit worried.
Yeah, well, you know me. I get a bit too impatient.
You might get a bit bored and a bit impatient. So that's why I'm going to say for you, you're going to have more than one game there, because I don't want you getting sloppy.
That's very good advice, and I'm going to follow that. Yeah.
For you, there's no way to have, I'm sitting there for this 10 seat and I'm going to pass 37 hands.
Not going to happen.
You're going to pass 3, now you're going to say, I'm going to try that one.
Exactly.
No. So I don't want you to be doing that. I'm going to want you to play it correctly. So we'll have 2 things going for you when you do it. So.
Okay. That sounds good to me. I actually spent a lot of time in some of the games I was playing last week, playing hands that I wouldn't normally, because I usually have very tight
experimenting?
standards.
Okay, that's great to experiment in
but
really
just
small
in that
games.
context, and I wasn't thinking I just wanted to see what would happen if it would actually bear out, and the advice that you guys give and whatnot. I played King Queen after someone raised it, and I lost a lot of money, and just silly things like that. But it makes it, I don't know, for me actually doing it myself, it reinforced to me how to play properly, and for myself what I should do.
If you want to get bizarrely experimental, what I'd recommend is go to a play money sit and go tournament and try it out there if you really want to be experimental rather than for.
That's good advice, although because I did try that. I found the other players in the play money were also being so experimental that it was difficult for me to gauge.
It depends. Every now and again you'll find one where it looks like there are some people, if you get a handful who are trying to win it, then it's not so bad. Now you can try your. But actually what I still recommend is, even as a task, even if they're lunatics there, even if they're mad, and even if they're pressing the all-in button or whatever, I think it's good practice for you to go in that play money sit and go and say, I've got to try and win it. Oh, yeah, but they're all lunatics. Well, that's your knowledge of the players.
Right, yeah.
Wait to trap the lunatic and get his chips. you should be able to beat them then. If they're lunatics, you should be able to beat them.
Right.
So therefore, go there in a play money, however crazy they're playing, you've got to assess what they're doing. This guy's going all in every time. Okay, that's easy to assess.
Right.
No point you limping in. If he's going all in every time, you can't call the bet.
Yeah.
So play accordingly, try and win it.
Okay. And that's where keeping player notes as well comes in so handy, because I've started doing that. I'm sort of trying to gauge how
good.
people are playing, and then I'm doing the notes on the you know, on the little computer site. And,
Excellent.
Yeah. So then if I see the note beside their name, I realize I played them before, and
check it out.
Yeah, check it out. How did they play? Were they crazy? Were they really tight? Were they, you know? Yeah, I found it really helpful.
Yeah. Well, we're looking before at the site. They've got the little colour buttons. You put those coloured buttons. You look down the lobby, and your favourite colour for fish is whatever it is. What colour are you going to have for fish? If you think they're a fish.
Green.
Green. Okay.
For the greenhorns.
You look down the lobby and go, oh, green, 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 green.
Fantastic.
I'm good in that game.
No, that's a great idea, actually.
So then you can check the individual notes, but you can just have the little colour there to say, looks nice. Okay. Looks a nice pond there.
That sounds good to me, because I know I've got a fair amount of ways to go in poker, but I think I'm starting to get a lot of the basics of the understanding of the, the structure of it and the principles, I think, behind
things. From the way you're talking now, I know you've taken a big step. So I'm no question about that. I know you've taken a big step. So that's it, because now you know enough to enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly. And I wasn't enjoying it as much before.
Because you didn't know enough.
I found it very stressful.
I used to find that with when I used to play backgammon. I used to teach people to play backgammon. Initially, I said, because you don't know enough to enjoy it.
Yeah.
I said, once you understand the game, then you'll
you can
enjoy
see what's happening.
Well, then everything, it all becomes interesting.
Yes. It does. It's not just, well, I'm going to raise with this hand no matter what happens in the rest of the table, but you're actually watching each individual player. What's their style? What have they done pre-flop? You're remembering the narrative of the hand and how it worked out, and then deciding what to do based on that. I think that's really exciting. I
mentioned it last night to Nick, actually. Have you seen it? 'Cause I know you were on the backgammon programme with John Clark. But did you see the other one, Ernie's game? Did you?
I've seen bits and pieces of it, yeah.
I met Ernie.
Oh, did you?
Yes, Ernie Pick. I met him at Newcastle at Asper's Casino. I actually he comes across quite scary in the documentary, but in real life he's a great character. He's very much fun. A really good fun guy. And we actually hit it off really well. So
I bet he is quite a character.
No, he is quite a character, and he's playing poker now.
Really?
Oh, yes.
Oh boy.
And I'll tell you what, I can see that he could become a player. I really can, yep. So...
we'll have to keep an eye out. Yep. You never know. You never know.
That's Ernie from Ernie's game. I think it was on tonight prior to this show. Right.
Okay,
so
had
that little chat
games.
there, guys. I'm sorry about ignoring, but we were discussing some poker stuff.
Yeah, I'm all overexcited about being back on, so it's a bit of a catch-up. So here we go. So Jack King, he's in late-ish position. He's decided to limp in by just putting in the big blind. Yeah, is that a fair...
Yes, that's okay. And he's got position, but we'll see what happens now if he should be taking note of what's going on. Look, they're all there with motley cards, aren't they, really? 10-2's call. I mean, I just can't really justify calling with that.
No.
He's actually hit his flop, and no one seemed to like... He likes the 8. He doesn't believe anyone's got the 8, so he's now bet 50 cents.
Oh.
King Jack, well, he is losing because 8s and 2s is winning.
Yeah.
And, well, he seems to have read it correctly.
Okay.
And he's going to take down the pot. Okay, Frank with 10-6.
There's the king-queen again, in a good position.
Yes, in the cut-off position.
Yeah.
There's been a limper under the gun.
How's king-queen going to play this? Would you do a standard 3 times a big blind raise even in a cash game? Is that
with this
still
one?
standard?
No. Well, it's funny with my king queen. I wouldn't. I would actually just. I would flat call it.
Yeah. Okay.
So I would flat call it to see what else happened.
ask that question.
I've still got the button behind me. I've still got. Oh,
Yeah.
I don't mind the raise. King Queen suited is a step up to King Queen offsuit. It's not horrific in his latest position, but I would just flat call it. As it happens, he is behind anyway. He's raised against an ace. He's put his. And this is one of the things. The problem with the King Queen. It looks pretty. It looks pretty, Kara, but you see the thing is, it's. He's walked into trouble with it.
Yeah.
There we go. Yet again.
Yeah. So you got to be careful if it doesn't.
Well, that's right. He
hit,
raised up with
let
it. And
go.
it's just you just generally don't know where you are. An ace comes on. Now you don't know where you are. In fact, he was losing. He paid some money off for it as well. The guy trapped him.
Yeah.
Checked, let him bet, and then came over the top of him.
You got to be willing to let it go sometimes, even if it looks pretty. It's a tough lesson to learn. It is a really tough lesson to learn. Okay, well, we were talking about earlier before the show about having a theme
Okay.
for the show. Some of the things that we might want to ask you questions at home if you want to let us know what you think about this. And I was saying, I wondered out there, those of you who have some sort of hobby or skill, or maybe it's part of your regular job, is there one thing in your regular job or your hobby that you bring into poker that informs your play as a poker player? For example, I suppose a lot of people have said to me, are you really ruthless and quite aggressive because you used to be a martial artist? You know what? I think that's probably true. It also, unfortunately, makes me have no patience whatsoever. Oh. But, you know, I think it's a good thing. So maybe
you mean if you had a fish shop, you could bring in your own chips? No, I don't know. Well, it'd be useful, wouldn't it?
Sorry, the blank look on my face is just, oh, Lord.
Yes, carry on with the theme, yes.
Yeah, well, that was my idea here. It's also...
What you do in your regular job or your hobby or your various talents, how do you bring these talents to the poker game?
Yeah.
And do you utilise them in the poker game? Is that it? Okay.
Yeah. Maybe it's a good thing. Maybe it's a bad thing. Maybe bring in stuff you shouldn't, like I said with me, and the no patience whatsoever. There you go. But you might have an idea about that, or about some of the poker that we've already seen on the show tonight, or maybe a question about your own game. And this is how you let us know. You can send us either a text or an email. Now, the text is 84222. That's a new number if you're one of our regular viewers, so make sure that you put that in right, and put the word poker before your question so that we know that's what it's all about. Or you can send an email, poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. And that's how you talk to us here in the studio, and we'd love to hear from you, any of your poker stories whatsoever, and questions. Like we said, it's beginner's night, so all are welcome, absolutely welcome. Right.
Definitely.
Okay.
We're waiting to hear from you.
We are waiting to hear from you, so make our night. There you go. It's the weekend, and it's all very exciting here. Now we're going to take a look back at the multi-table tournament and see how the players are getting on there.
Okay, we're down to 79 players now.
Ooh, that was quick.
It was.
Down from 110 players.
That's right.
Right, it sounds to me like the chip leader is on 6,010. That is the information I am getting.
Right, well that's pretty good because the average chips at the moment is 2,088.
Ooh, so that's very good.
Yeah, so he's got triple the average, hasn't he? So it's pretty good.
Not a bad position to be in. With that amount of chips, really you don't have to worry about anyone bullying you off a pot. There's pretty much no one that would be able to do that. So there we go. You can see that we're missing one player off of this table. That is part of the structure of a multi-table tournament. As players are knocked out of the tournament, as they lose all their chips, the tables end up being broken down and consolidated so that there are fewer and fewer tables involved, and hopefully, usually, the same number of players at every single table in the tournament.
And the biggest difference will be one player difference.
Yeah, because you can't.
You might have 15 people left, or you'll have 7 on one and 8 on the other.
Absolutely true. And there you go. There's our chip leader. That's Crazy Gum in seat 8. 6,000 chips. 6,010 chips even. And the blinds are only at 25.50 because in an MTT, the blind structure is different. It goes up much slower than in a tournament. So he's got a lot of play there.
Crazy Gum, he never plays sit and goes, Kara, apparently.
No?
Nope.
Really?
He said he always ends up on the bubble.
Oh.
Bubble gum?
Ouch.
Yes, sorry.
Ouch. Bubble gum. Oh,
God.
Oh. Walked right into that one.
And you're jet lagged as well. It's bad. It was cruel, wasn't it?
Can you tell? Oh. Yeah, I think my sense of humour got left behind in Canada. I'm just staring blankly at some of these jokes.
Bone, ace jack. He's got trip jacks. Very nice too.
Mm-hmm.
So we see a blinds now with up to 25-50.
Yeah.
But all these players here, there's still no one. Even the 8-4-5, they still not under. He's still got time.
Mm-hmm. Although he might be feeling the pressure because he's got a smaller stack. Do you think? Because I've been in this position where I do have more than 10 times a big blind, but I'm the smallest stack by far. And then I think, go a bit crazy and I push all in.
And that's wrong.
It's wrong, isn't it?
It's wrong.
Yeah.
You have to look at your position. Forget about it. Don't worry. Don't be jealous of others having chips.
Yeah.
You just got to look at your situation. And this is a big error. This is a common error. People panic too soon.
Yeah.
You look at your stack, you look at the size of the blinds, and you see how much play have you got. Look at how much each round is costing you. Well, each round is costing you 75 here.
Yeah.
You've got 845. So therefore, you've got over 11 rounds.
Oh, that's great. And you don't have to push all in with, say...
No, you're not in a panic.
8, 10
you're
or
not.
something.
You're not in a panic area.
Yeah. Okay.
So, you know, you should still be selective.
Yeah.
You should be picking your moment. When you get a hand, maybe then you can play that in a way to try and win some chips with it.
Yeah.
But you do not have to panic, and don't start making just silly plays, pushing anything all in or whatever. Just do not panic too soon.
Okay.
When it's time to panic, then make the aggressive plays or whatever, but don't do it prematurely.
Right, so if this was Star Trek, it would
Here
be
we
yellow
go.
alert, not red alert.
Yes, that's very good. Right, we've got Bone there, raised up with a pair of twos, a triple re-raise from Ace-King,
Oh boy.
and now Bone is checked, but he's got it up and down straight, and I thought yes, there he is, he's in there, and he's got it, the pair of twos stood up.
Wow.
Well, he'd like to hit a 2, but he quite liked 3, 4, 5.
Oh yeah.
Huh. And the funny thing was his opponent, of course, with Ace-King. If an Ace came, he was snookered.
Yeah.
Because the Ace gave him the straight.
Of course, yeah. So his out
He only
actually
had
would
the
have been-
kings.
Yeah.
So he only had 3 kings. The Ace was redundant.
Yeah, it's always important if you're looking at the flop to think what it could be doing for your opponent, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and 3, 4, 5, if your opponent does like it, could he have the 2? Could he have the pair of 2s?
Yeah.
It's got to be bear consideration. Why does he still like it? Or what else does he have? Maybe he's got 2 pair. Maybe he's got trips. So even if you hit your ace or your king, it's no good anyway.
That's right.
So
Yeah, and what did he do pre-flop? What was the betting that he made? Was raising
well, no,
involved?
Ace-King did try to do something because
Yeah.
Bone raised to start with,
Yeah.
and then Graham re-raised 3 times his raise. So
Yeah.
he did try to get him off it with the Ace-King. But then Bone called.
Yeah.
Now, Ace-King, unfortunately, has to look at the flop, Bone, and consider how it matches his hand, if it's any good, etc., etc. Probably he thought the other way round. He thought, oh, well, I've got a 2 to give me a straight, and I've got 2 overcards, maybe that'll win for me. I'm sure that's what was going through his mind. He was trying to look through rosy-coloured glasses, I would imagine. Bone, however, played it cute. He checked, knowing that his opponent would probably bet, so now he got all his chips in. He felt that I think he put his opponent on Ace-King, basically.
Yeah.
And, he obviously had, because he didn't put him on a bigger pair, because he wouldn't have been doing it. So I think he put him on the 2 big cards scenario.
Okay.
And normally Ace-King, because if someone does a re-raise, it's either with a bigger pair or maybe with the Ace-King. That's one of the likely hands to be doing the re-raise with.
Yeah.
And here we have a re-raise again with
Ace-King.
Ace-King. No sooner said than done.
If I put in a 200 raise there, so that's 4 times a big blind with a pair of 4s, would you be happy with me?
Generally not, no.
I wouldn't. Okay, good, because that's sort of what I was thinking, and
No.
I was.
Because in
wanted
these
to double check.
especially when the blinds are 25-50, I want to play a pair of 4s as a drawing hand.
Yeah.
I want to limp in there with 50, and I want to try and hit a 4 on the flop. And if I don't, I'm happy to chuck it away. And if I do, I'm going to hit it 1 time out of 8. It's a 7-to-1 shot to hit it on the flop. And if I do, I'm then going to hope to win a nice spot. play it when I know where I am. What do I want to be playing some dodgy... How good is it if I'm going to end up all in with my pair of fours?
Oh.
If the guy's got... He's either going to have a bigger pair or 2 overcards.
Gotcha.
Now, listen, the other night I had to push in and sit and go with a pair of 5s or something.
Yeah.
Well,
But if
because
you have to,
time had run out.
Yeah.
That was a different story. I didn't want to do it, but time had run out. Okay, I hope he hasn't got a pair. I'm going to be a small favourite, about 54% favourite. Not marvellous, but time had run out.
Yeah.
No choice. But when you've got time, you've got a choice.
Right.
So don't make this flip of a coin play, because you're adding another fence to the Grand National.
I like this analogy, I do.
You don't want to add another fence. You want to just go along on the flat. You don't want the fence. So we've got to avoid creating fences for ourselves.
Yes, in life and in poker.
There we go.
Wise words indeed. Wise words indeed.
Okay, we've got Bone. He's got the top pair.
And there
he
you
took
go.
down the chips. Blinds are up to 5,100 there in the MTT, just while we have a little break.
Yeah, a quick email, and then we will go back and take a look at how things are panning out there. But we have an email nice and early in the show, and this is from Buffy B. Good, who's one of the regular players here on the show. And he says, Dear James and Kara, just a quick email to welcome Kara back to the show. Thanks very much. And to say congratulations on her first win the other day. Not that I played in that actual tournament, but I did play a few games with her while she was away in Canada. I did play quite a few games, I have to put my hands up to that. And I thoroughly enjoyed them, he says. Good luck and beat the presenter, Kara. Maybe I'll get the chance to renew rivalry later. So you think you can beat me, huh? I don't know about that. I really don't know about that. I think I have a pretty good chance myself.
Good. Good.
You know, I'm giving it all that front, so...
No, yeah,
absolutely.
that's it. Be positive.
I've been playing a lot of poker. I think I'm in a much better space for it. But thank you very much, Buffy Be Good, and thanks so much for all of the games that we did play while I was away in Canada. I definitely enjoyed that, and all the other viewers out there who were keeping me company in Canada. Now, anyone else who wants to get in touch with us here in the studio, please feel free to do so. You can let us know what you're thinking by text. Text the word poker and your question to 84222. Or if you have a longer question, or you can email that into us here, poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. And that's how that works. So let us know what you think. And at the moment, we're going to zoom over to a cash game and take another look at how it's different from multi-table tournaments and sit and goes. Right, 25-cent, 50-cent cash game.
And there we are, back to the 25, 50 cent. And we've got the pair of 3s is actually in front against an ace-king. We've been just talking about that before. The ace-king still trying to win this. And this is crazy. He's tried before. The guy still wanted to be there. Why does he want to put it in with nothing?
Yeah. Maybe he's just hoping to push him off, but at this point, it's not going to happen.
Because if you had to look at how many chips the guy had.
Yeah.
I mean...
Yeah, he only had like 13 cents left.
Yeah, but
there.
before the time before, he wasn't even that. I don't know what he was trying there.
Yeah.
But the thing is, sometimes people tend to, with these ace kings, they tend to waste money, and they tend to waste money against people who say, oh, well, he's only got so many chips or whatever. Yeah, but it's you've still got to consider the situation.
Yep.
Are you getting any value in this situation? Do you think you're behind the situation? How many chances have you got to improve to win this?
Yeah.
And with one card to come, he's only got 6 outs anyway. So at the best, and maybe it's worse. Maybe he's drawing dead. All these possibilities are in this equation that you've got to work out in your mind.
Don't get so stuck on a pretty-looking hand that you can't put it down.
Here's a pretty-looking hand I tend to get stuck on.
Uh-oh, queens against aces.
Queens against aces. So the queens raised it to 2, 4 times the big blind. Oh, and he's decided to not guess. He's just poshed it all in. And it's queens against aces. There's a king there.
Oh, boy.
And he's got 2 outs.
And that's not it.
But unfortunately, it's the way out.
Yeah. Say goodbye.
Oh, but he can reload. There's Watts Pop. He had the queens. He raised. He was re-raised. He didn't believe Benny Pump and decided to re-raise again and put all his chips in.
If your intuition is telling you that someone is doesn't have as good a hand as you, but they have re-raised it. What do you do then?
No, what you do is this. It's quite simple.
Okay.
You've raised 4 times the big blind.
Yeah.
Now, in fact, let's go through this.
Okay.
Okay? You've got a pair of queens.
Yeah.
And you're in the same position here.
Yeah.
As what Pup was.
Okay.
So he was 1, 2, 3, 4. He was seat 5. You raise 4 times the big blind with your pair of queens. Benny Pump on the button re-raises you to 8.
Right. Yeah.
Everyone else passes.
Yeah.
Now, what are you thinking? What's your first thing you should be thinking? What do you look at to start with?
Well, I look at my own cards.
Right. So
And
you
then,
know, yes. Okay.
And see how strong they are.
Right. So you know you got a pair of queens. Right. So you've raised. Did you represent that you had a reasonable hand?
I did. I've asked the question.
Okay.
Does anyone else
now,
out there have
what
a
else do you look at
hand?
to start with? What else do you look at?
Their chip stack?
Yes, excellent, good. So that's very good. That's what I was thinking of. So you check the chips. How was he in chips compared with you?
Right, he was... Oh, he had a lot more than I did.
He had you covered.
Yeah,
okay.
definitely had me covered.
So he's got you covered. All your chips are up for grabs here, right?
Yeah.
That's right. So you've checked the chips. Very important.
Okay.
Now, what else do you check now? Or what do you think about? Not cards, but what do you think about?
Well, we already talked about position, so it's not that.
No. Well, he's got position on you.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you just call the raise, he's got position on you. So
Yeah.
therefore, that's not great, is it? That's a negative for you if you just called.
Yeah.
Okay, right. Next bit. What else do you think about?
I don't know.
Well, what could it be? You've checked his chips.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to wonder what his cards are.
Yeah, but what about the player?
Oh, I see. Okay. Have I played them before? Do I know what sort of player they are?
What sort of player
Of course.
is?
Yes.
That's very important.
Yeah.
So, right, we check his chips, and now we consider what is the player like.
Yeah.
Okay? So, what do we check? What are we thinking there? What sort of are we looking for? What player is he? What are we thinking? Is he what? Is he?
Well, is he tight? Is he loose? Does he play with anything? Is
Right.
he a bit
Okay.
mad with his chips?
Okay, exactly.
Yeah.
And now, what action are we trying to remember? Actions he's taking. What ones are we thinking about now? We're thinking about actions in relation to this situation. So we're
Right.
thinking about, have we seen him re-raise before?
Okay. Yeah. All
And
right.
what did we see him re-raise with?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so we want to see how solid he is, what sort of player he is. Is he like a rock? Is he average? Is he very loose? Is he mad? Whatever. This is going to all related to our decision.
Yeah. Okay.
Then we rewind and say, have I ever seen him re-raise before, and what did he have?
Yeah.
Okay, now once we've assessed that and we've put this character, we've done our character profile.
Yeah.
We've checked the chips, we've done our character profile, we've said, oh, my position, I'm out of position again. He's got position on me. We now say, what hands, with this profile that we've given the player, could he have? Okay, if he was Snap It. Do you remember Snap It?
Yeah, Ken Snap It.
Okay, if Snap It re-raised you, you've raised 4 times the big blind and he re-raised you, what hands do you put Snap It on?
Oh, probably aces and kings.
Okay.
He obviously, or queens, I suppose. He could have queens as well.
Aces.
But probably
okay.
aces or
Kings. Maybe queens.
Snap It? I don't
Okay, maybe you don't. Okay.
Yeah.
Ace king.
Yeah.
Ace.
No, not a re-raise. I wouldn't think he'd re-raise with
Ace
king.
queen.
Nope.
No way. Ace jack.
No.
Pair of threes.
Never.
Okay. So now,
Okay.
what are you doing with your queens against Snap It?
I'm putting them down.
Exactly. Now that's what we do.
Okay.
That is what we do.
Oh, in 20 seconds.
So now you've got to put this person on a window of hands. If their hands they're raising you with are aces, kings, let's give it more, queens, ace, king. Let's say you wouldn't do it with ace, queen. So let's say it was that. This is no bargain for us.
No, it's not.
Because we're either a big underdog there, 4 to 1 against, 4 to 1 against, or a small favourite.
Okay.
It's no big deal. Right.
Put them down.
If the player is a much looser player, if it's one who's capable of doing moves, capable of trying to push you off hands, then he'd be right to commit his chips. Because if the person would do it with jacks, tens, nines,
Right.
You now cancel out the aces the times he's got the jacks. You cancel out the kings the time he's got the tens. You've got a bonus when you're 4-1 on when he's got the nines. And the looser he is, the more bonuses you get.
I see.
And if he would now do it with ace-jack, you say, good, that's good as well. An ace-queen, that's all right as well.
Yeah.
So now you check out the whole picture. And that, you can't possibly put the guy on one specific hand. But that is what we've got to do. And now the balance of that picture of possible hands is how we work out our decision.
Okay, gosh, and you try to do that in, what, 20 seconds?
Yes, but...
I suppose it becomes
but
more...
how does that... Have you...
Natural.
Right, but have you actually thought about that window of hands like that before?
I haven't.
No. So what's that feel like?
I think it would definitely help.
Right.
I think it would certainly help.
Okay.
Okay.
And
well,
that's basically, that's what makes it a great game, because that's what we've got to be doing. This is the thought process we've got to be going through.
Yeah.
This is not just poker, it's a game of Cluedo.
yes, you're absolutely right.
It's a game of Cluedo.
Yeah.
It was Kara with the spanner in the kitchen. Oh, you know.
It might just have been, you never know. But you know what? Because I was actually watching one of the shows last week, I think it was, and Michelle was on, and she was talking about the fact that she's got, I believe, a list of questions sort of stuck to her computer monitor.
She put my topics down her computer.
No, there you go, and you know, so that she checks herself
Yeah.
and does do things like, well, what sort of hands would this player play with? Have you checked the chip stacks? Da 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 da. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Because it does remind you, and especially if you start to go on
Yeah,
tilt,
she put a little checklist. I gave her some. She put a checklist down the side of her computer.
Just
so
to
when she
remind
plays,
you.
she has a look at it.
just to get back to standards.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Well, should we do an email, do you think?
Yes.
Shall we?
Fire
Let's
away.
take a look at another email here. Now, this one is from Toblerone. Hi, Toblerone.
Toblerone.
Toblerone says, hi guys, regarding your questions about skills that have informed your play, I used to work as a casino croupier. This meant I had to be an expert card shuffler and count chips very quickly. Now, those are some pretty good skills to have for poker. When I started playing poker in a home game, I found my dexterity at the table gave me a dominant table image, as people assumed I must be some kind of pro. People definitely respected my bets more, so it was a real plus. Love the show. That's from Toblerone. You know what? I bet you, because if I sat down at a home game or a live game with someone who was, you know, going through their chips and they were shuffling and dealing and really knew what they were doing, really had that kind of aura of confidence, I think I would be a bit, you know, it might put me off a little bit, because I would think, oh, he is a real pro.
Yeah, no, I like that. It's a clever email, that, because he's actually, what he'll be doing is he'll be having his chips there because he handles the chips well, and he'll be here and shuffling them and everything, and the way he's handling the cards and spinning the chips, everything. Yes, he will have this good table presence.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, it's a clever email. I think that's a good one. I like it.
Yeah, and that's probably something he should maybe even endeavour to instill even more in people, because it's nice to have a table image that you can control, isn't it?
Yeah.
What's your table image?
Solid, I think.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Solid. Solid.
Yeah, solid. But I mean, people generally, if I'm at a table, I think when they play against me, they realise that when I'm playing in the pot, they probably think that it's going to get expensive. So that's basically what I think they're going to think. So they say, oh, he's quite tight, he's very solid, blah, 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 except it depends where I am. On a cash game on the internet, I'm quite different. In a way, if it's a passive table, I'm quite aggressive. But in a lot of games, I'm solid. I want to be solid. I want to be tight, aggressive a lot of games. But then they'll say, it's not just this bet, it's what is the next one.
Yeah.
And so that's what I want them to feel.
Okay.
Meanwhile, have you ever tried Toblerone?
I have. I'm a big fan of the Toblerone. As a chocolate, hands down, bar none.
Because Kara likes a chucky.
Oh, I do. We all know I do. I do like a little bit of chocolate, a little bit of, you know, donuts every once in a while are good as well. I have to say, though, as we were talking before, I did just come back from Canada where I was visiting my parents, and I think I ate them out of house and home. Home cooking just floors me. She's absolutely amazing. In fact, I think she sent some in for the crew here.
Wow.
I ate them all, so if she's watching, I'm really sorry. But I didn't bring any of the cookies or baking in because I've pretty much eaten all of it, so there you go. Yeah. I'm going to go and eat some chocolate now, actually. We're going to go to a break fairly soonish. When we come back, I'm going to be playing a bit of poker. So I'm going to be trying to take into account all of the information that you talked about, make sure I'm asking myself questions about the players I'm against, the chip stacks,
Take note of their styles so you can assess their plays.
Lots to think about, lots to think about. So make sure you join us back here after the break for more great poker and beat the presenter with me. We'll see you soon. Hello and welcome back to Poker Night Live. We are here for the next 3 hours bringing you the best of Texas Hold'em on the internet. If you're new to the show, this is how it works. We bring you live games, games that are being streamed as live with a slight delay. This is all internet Texas Hold'em poker. And because of the slight delay, that's what gives it kind of our unique slant on this game. We can actually show you what everyone's cards are. So you can watch them and see how people are playing certain cards in certain positions at certain times of tournaments or in cash games, that sort of thing. And it's a great learning tool. A lot of people are learning quite a bit from this show.
Yes. Now, Kara is just about to be playing Beat the Presenter. Now, she doesn't know this, but what I'm going to say now is, but I know you're tired, I know you've been jet lagged, but you have to also, in this sit and go, I'm sorry, I'm tough, I'm tough.
Oh no, what?
When you're playing,
yeah?
I expect you to have made some notes on the players.
Okay, I will. Absolutely.
And I want to see, and afterwards, afterwards you're going to tell me some of the notes you made on the players. You're going to assess something. So you're now going to say, I've got to really assess what they're like.
Good. Well, hopefully all the people I'm going to be playing against,
and if you're doing that,
they'll know.
if you're doing that, I think that means you're going to be playing at a better level.
Okay.
So it feels like a chore a little bit, but this is what we've got to do. And if once you do this regularly, it isn't a chore, it's just the norm.
Second nature.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I know you're going to get distracted because they're going to be chatting to you all the time.
I do get a bit distracted.
Yeah, well, it's very difficult. I do as well in there because they're so friendly and they're making all the jokes and everything. It is difficult.
It's nice.
But some way around, at least later on, you have a little chat, but after that, I want notes.
Okay, I'm going to be taking some notes. Now, that's my job for this hour, but your job out there as our viewers is to help us out with a few topics of conversation. If you've got questions about poker in your own game, anything that you see on our TV tables, or general questions and comments about poker, anything, let us know here in the studio, and this is how you can do that. You can send us either a text or an email, and the text number has changed, so make sure you take note of that. It's 84222, and you have to put the word poker in it first, and that will let us know what you want to know. Or you can send us an email, and the email address is poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. And I, in a few moments, am going to be clicking furiously trying to get onto one of these tables, so bear with me if that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Because you probably hear it over James's voice. I do apologize. Yeah, that's what that will be. But I'm going to let you guys go to a sit and go, and I'm going to start clicking. So there we go.
Okie doke. Yep. It's clicking. It started already.
It has. Yeah, I warned you.
And here we are. We're going to be watching a sit and go while Kara tries to enter a sit and go. And this is a $20 sit and go. And we've got Benny Pump there. He's just pumped it up, actually, to 80, 4 times the big blind with a pair of jacks under the gun. Now, Elvis with ace-king. How's he going to play it? And it looks like he might put it down. And he does. And I don't blame him. Because in a way, under the gun, he probably thinks that Benny's got a pair. And so in a way, he's on a drawing hand. And if you think about it, the ace-king is actually 2-to-1 against to hit the flop. So when the flop comes, 2 times out of 3, he's not going to like it. So for some of you, you might think it's a strange decision, but I think actually he's read the situation well. So I think well played, Elvis. We've got a raise on the button from Irid, or Earled. Sorry, I called you Irid the other night. It's Earled, isn't it? I-R-L-D. Earled. And Frank on the button with K9. Got 2 hands on the blind. Look at this. Pair of 8s to ace-queen suited. What's Frank going to do? Is he going to dip his toe in the water? Probably, hopefully, for him, he doesn't. And nope, he decides not to. Benny Pump there. He's got a pair of 8s. He just makes up the small blind. Fishing for chips. Makes it 120. Now Benny's got to consider what happens next. Well, he decides, I'm not going to decide what happened next. He just whacks it all in. And there we go. It's ace on the flop for fishing for chips. He fished for chips and he got them. And Benny was a small favourite. He was about a 54. Oh, not much. He was against ace queen. Was a small favourite, maybe 52% favourite or something. And I don't know. His whole tournament has just gone on one pair. Not a situation which makes me feel good. Elvis, 4 times the big blind with ace-9. Frank with the ace-5. Playing a bit slowly here. Six queen, 9, 3 queen, and there's Elvis. He's got the ace-9 against the king-9. He's got the better kicker. Earl, the ace-jack. There's been 2 people folded already. He's made it a small raise. It's quite nice. Made it 60. Yeah, that pair of 8s against the ace-queen suited, I was right. It's about 52%, that was all. So unfortunately, he risked all his tournament on a 52%er. And Stanter's considering, I don't know why he's considering, I think it's an easy fold with queen 3. He does so eventually. So, 7 players. We saw an early death. Portman Road on the button with K10, Katie. And Stanter's small blind. And he's raised it to 90. 4.5 times a big blind. Elvis has left the building. And Earl under the gun, queen 8. No thanks. Portman Road's the first one with the decision here, I think. King 8-4, King 4 should be dumped as they are. Portman Road, ace-10. Try a small raise. He's made it 4 times 80. He's made it. Elvis, not for me. And 7-9 suited decide to call, and wow, an inspired call by Hit and Run. He's just clicked trip 9s, and he's checked it. Portman Road, luckily for him, hasn't connected at all. And Hit and Run can't wait any longer. He pops in 60, but Portman's not even going to call that. So maybe with a rainbow flop there, Hit and Run could have actually just checked one more time, I think, that time. Normally, I don't mind people betting with some trips, especially if there's a bit of a draw there, because someone might have the draw hand. But with the rainbow flop, it's less likely. He was out of position. Maybe he could have just tried, given his opponent a chance just to hit one of their big cards, i.e. in that case an ace or a 10. Could have got a few more chips out of him. It was a raise from Fishing for Chips, ace-king suited, very nice, he's got those. Without any risk. And he's just limped with a pair of 4s, that's fine, especially because he's got a stack. He's got 2,000, so he can well afford to have a look at a few of these flops. And certainly to look for 20, as it's an insignificant amount for him. It's been raised by Elvis to 100. He's in the cut-off position. He's made it 100 to play. It's up to Frank. It's going to cost him 80 if he wants to have a look. I think it would be a bad call myself with ace-8. I'm not just saying that because I can see his opponent's got ace-king. I'm just considering what he should be considering in that position. And there's no need for him to panic yet. There's no need he should be making dodgy calls. Pair of fours is called. And this is awkward. When you play heads up with a small pair, every card in the flop just about is going to be a nightmare because they're all over cards to your pair. Now he's had to check. Elvis has missed the flop, but he's got a middle pin straight draw. He's actually got 2 over cards and he's got position and he's bet. And there we go, the small pair has had to put it down. So did he get value calling that raise? Well, it would have been magical if he'd hit his trips. And that's the only way he'd really known where he was. But without that, I think he's just going to be losing that on the flop virtually every time. Because he's out of position, his opponent is going to be betting regardless of whether they hit it or not. And he's going to have to pass. So I don't think it's really a great deal at all. I don't think he got good value. Sometimes when you limp in, if someone charges you too much for it, it's often right just to say goodbye. If there's a few more people in there, yes, then you can call the raise because you've got the chance that if you hit your magical trips, that there'll be someone there who will have hit something and be prepared to pay you off. And that is what's necessary. It's not only, there's 2 things. 1, you've got to be able to hit your hand, and 2, your opponent's going to have something that they'll pay you the 1 time out of 8 that you hit it. Well, if you're only going to hit this trips 1 time out of 8, and your opponent doesn't pay you off every time, you can see straight away that it isn't a very good proposition. So, just to sum up on that, small pair, out of position, against 1 opponent, very, very dodgy. I hope we all understand the concepts I was trying to put across there. If we change some of them, if we put the small pair who's got position, etc., etc., things change. 7-8, he's just limped in. I think that's fine. Let's see if he can get away with it. I think it's fish and chips. He could have limped in there with his 4-5. The 9-10's limped in, and we might well be seeing a flop here. And we have 8, Queen, 9. So we've got second pair for Stantas and a flush draw. He's only got the 10 of clubs, so I don't know how comfortable he'll feel with that flush draw. Could well be imagining someone's got an ace, a king, a jack. Anyway, he's bet 120, so he probably quite likes it. He's also got a straight draw as well, because a jack would give him a straight. And we've got Earl there with the bottom pair, but he didn't like the clubs, and he thought there could be a possible straight out there, and he's quite correctly passed it. Anyway, it's shot up now to 81.60. And Earl with the king 10, Frank 10-2. Pretty motley hand, should chuck that. And it's a walk for Stantas, who gets 240 chips, no risk at all. How sweet life is for Stantas. Beautiful. And Kara's playing away there. I'm not actually watching because I want it all to be a surprise for me. But I know she can hear me, and so far I'm very impressed with her focus. So whatever happens, you've got a good mark already. That can't be bad, can it?
No.
You've already got a star. You've already got a star. Earls, under the gun, ace king. Makes it 640. 4 times the big blind seems to be very popular at this table tonight. And we've said before, he's the queens. Yes, well, it's a good shot for the queens. He's down on chips, 390. He has to take a move, and it's a fantastic move because he's got the added value that there is the small blind and the big blind, which is adding 240 to the pot. He needs to get the pot where he can make some money. No ace or king, he'll have done it. And he succeeded. And the queens found a great spot there. Ace king didn't do anything too wrong, but unluckily walked into a pair of queens which stood up against the ace king. The pair of queens that had the right stack, that didn't matter. If the queens had walked into aces or kings, it doesn't matter, that was unlucky. His time was running out, it was as good as he could hope for, and there was the extra money in the pot, clear cut, that he should get involved. He did so, and he won it. Good poker. As I said, Earl did nothing wrong. He had a big hand at this stage of the tournament, and he raised it up. He did what he could. He couldn't get away from the amount of money that Portman had. So, good poker there. Portman Road, Jack 6. Again, looks motley. Ace 4, that could be dumped. 6-7 on the blinds. He's got 5-10. I think he could actually push here. Now I can see there's kings there. If you could see that, he wouldn't. I think the 6-10, it wouldn't be that bad to just push. Yes, I think it's a good play. He's very unlucky. He's walked into a pair of kings, but I like the play by hit and run. Very good chance against the blinds that they could have passed it, and that would have been a significant increase to his stack. But unlucky for him, he'd run into cowboys, King Kong on the big blind. Don't worry, hit and run. I like that play. I thought there was equity in the play you made there. Very good chance that they could still even put that down. And that was your last chance, well, one of your last few chances to get a steal situation with the amount of chips you had. Pre-flop folds, we see Portman Road there, very selective, as so is Frank, both 88% pre-flop folds. Elvis and Fishing for chips, 83%. Okay, back to the game. And like magic, it just floats back into our screen. That boy's in the back like a well-oiled machine. 10 queen from Frank on the button, but Elvis has cranked it up with his ace 8. And he looks like he's got it, and that was a good play. He had to try and get some chips there. Frank, 7 king. Flat raise. Made it 320. That's 160 with 160. Fishing for chips. His play was either all in or pass. He decided to pass. Earl, 4-2. No. Frank, 5-7. That looks like rubbish too. Fishing for chips. Kojak. Suited. He always was suited, Kojak, anyway. Sucking his lolly. And he's made an aggressive play and taken down the blinds. Very nice too. Because those blinds are chunky now. It's 163.20. We've still got 6 players left. So people are getting under pressure. Portman Road, Elvis, under pressure here. Each round costing them 480 chips. Not much time left for these guys. Earl still isn't much time left either. But he doesn't want to be involved in this one against 2 people with 6-8. Frank. Well, it's going to cost him. He's decided to risk his tournament on it. He's dominated by the ace-jack. Well, he felt the pressure as well. There's a lot. These are quite fast structures, these tournaments, and it does put pressure on you. He looked at his 10-jack suited. He felt it looked pretty, but unfortunately he was well dominated by the ace-jack. And he's all in now on the big blind for 10. Now Stantis here actually has to call for 320, which is the size of the big blind. Let's hope the software handles this okay. In fact, he won thing last night, it didn't. But we didn't get to see. So 8, Jack, Queen. 4, he's got a pair of 8s, Frank has. Oh, but he couldn't even win for his peanut there in the middle. And on the river came an ace, and it's bye-bye Frank. There he is. He had 7-8. He was in the big blind. He only had 10. He was only going to win 20 if he won the pot. So it was going to be a long haul from there anyway. But he was big favourite going into the last card, but his luck even let him down there for a mere 20. Pretty bleak when you can't even win that one. Earl, 7-3 on the button. Yuck. Elvis, he likes his ace, rag. He's cranked it up there. But again, nice win. 480 chips there. Very significant to him. Well, in fact, very significant to anyone here because these are high blinds. And a lovely present for Stantas. Deserves a round of happy birthday, I think. 480, no risk. That is a good present. And good play by Earl. Ace-Jack. His time was nigh. Portman Road, he's got the pair. His time is right as well. He's just got to hope he's got 2 big cards. This case, he's happy just to be like a 54% favourite, which he is. And there's a flush draw and a straight draw and overcards for Earl. One more card to come. Oh, and there it is. He did have a few outs there, and he's made the flush. He's made the ace flush. So, as I said, he did have a few outs there. He needed a 9 to give him a straight. He needed a club to give him a flush. So he had 9 clubs. He had 3 9s because one of the 9s is a club as well. And he also had the overcards. So he did have a lot of outs. I think 17 outs he had. But still, underdog going to the river. Anyway, we're down to 4. It's bubble time. And Earl solves that and knocks out Elvis. This time, it's official. Elvis has left the table. Earls rewarded with American Airlines. Fishing for chips. Not fishing with that one. And Stantas, that looks pretty horrible. 3 deuce. I'm sure he'll surrender. And he does. And Earl breathing down his neck now. Fish and chips under great pressure. But I'm sure we're going to see all his chips go in the middle. And there they go. He's going to be happy with the situation. It's ace-jack suited against 7-6. He's still out in front. He's still there. He doesn't want to see a 7 or a 6. Oh, no! As soon as it said, ping on the river. How cruel. 6 outs for Earl. There it was. Lucky 7 for Earl. And that was the end of fishing for chips. Very cruel. It's a cruel game. Anyway, we're down to heads-up time. Earl is now chip leader against Stantas. Earl there with pair of 4s. Cranks it up, all in fact, asking a big question. Do you want to put your tournament on the line, pal? The blinds are 326.40. He said, yes, I've got an ace. I'm going to do it. He's got a straight draw and a flush draw. But there's trips to Earl on the flop, however. And there we go. It's trip 4s. What a wonderful flop. The first card out was a 4. It doesn't matter. There was 3 spades. Stantas had the ace of spades in his hand. He needed to hit a spade. He could have hit a 2 for a straight, but he had to be one of those big ones to beat the trips. And he didn't manage it. And we have a winner. The winner in the blue corner is Earl. Well, very good. I enjoyed that sit and go. I thought that was interesting, and I thought generally, the play was very good. I thought there was a lot of good plays. As I said, I even liked the one hit and run did. It looked crazy. We could see the kings. Oh, why is James recommending he goes all in? I'm not looking at the cards. I don't consider what the cards are when I give you the advice. I consider what I think, as if I couldn't see the cards, the correct play would be, the correct decision. And I think his decision there was fine, because he was against the 2 blinds when he made the move. With his suited connectors, there was a good chance that they'd pass, and if not, his suited connectors, as it happens against a good pair, the suited connectors play better than a lot. So It was a good play, but it failed. Overall, good tournament. I enjoyed it. Okay, let's have a look at that green table. You know what I mean? MTT.
What do you mean by green?
MTT, Kermit.
Oh, sorry. I thought you meant me. I'd like to tell you we've got 31 players left. Yeah!
And the chip leader is Crazy Gum.
That's my job.
Sorry.
Wire for you.
Okay, back to multi-table time. The blinds are 150, 300. TM-DVD, pair of threes. Wham! All in, he presses the all-in button. The Pershaw says no thanks, and he gets 450, which is very significant. It takes him up to 2,195. So, 31 players. Average is 5,300 chips. Well, 5322 actually. Oh, 5322 actually, yes. And not too much out there. So each round is costing the player 450 chips. So it's a good idea to look at our stack to see how many rounds we have. I also look at my stack and just actually look at it as big blinds as well. So I'll check both to give myself sort of a feel of the situation. And there's Ken Jude there. I'll tell you what, why don't we have a look at another table so we can just have a little, give all the players a little bit of a show there. They're playing away, it'll be nice to see them all, see the fresh names. There we go. Some new faces. And we see Gwen with Ace Queen, Aqua. And no sooner said than done, an ace appears on the flop. And Gwen even has the ace of spades. So isn't as frightened of the two spades, because we'll still control the runner-runner situation. By that I mean runner-runner spade. Spade would be runner-runner. Pair of Thames, Graham, or Graham. And he's made it 800. The blinds are 200, 400. He's made it a flat raise, 4 with 4. And if we see there, there's any opposition. It's down to Technolog, but he's surrendered and Graham takes it down. Goes to 4,265, but it's his big blind now. So immediately has to fork out 400. Expensive business at the moment. Well, it'll be interesting to see what Technolog does with 10 Jack. Oh, and he's pressed the button. Not mucking around. He said, I think I can take that big blind. You read it well, Technolog. And you recaptured your small blind, and you captured the big blind. So it was worth 600 to you, which was meaningful. And there's a good chance that your opponent will put down the big blind. And as it happens, we could see there your opponent even put down an ace. So it shows how powerful your play was. And when we're making moves, well, basically, the plus point about what he did there was he was actually against a guy who was on the blind. He was there through no choice of his own. And he was the only player left. So he's against one player who has not even seen his cards, basically, to be there. So that is a very attackable situation. because there's a great chance that person will be a higher chance of that person in that situation who was there by no choice. There's a higher chance that they will put a hand down. So that's a window of opportunity for the small blind when he faces only the big blind. K10 just calls under the gun. I don't like that now. I don't believe he's got enough chips to be limping in at this stage now. 400's a significant amount of his stack. He won't want to face a re-raise and he'll have wasted 400. So I don't like it at all. I think Graham here should ask the question. People limping in here, I don't think it... Yes, and he does ask the question. Very good play, Graham. He's asked it the best way possible. He's clicked it all in. And now we see the limper here, can't call it, is fritted away 400. That's too significant money. And Kazdan as well. Can't look at Kazdan. He's only got 1730 left, and he had to leave 400 behind. Can't be right. Can't possibly be right. So therefore, when you're getting lower in chips, save your chips to do something positive with. Don't limp in then. Limp in at the beginning of the tournament when the blind is small, it's not significant. But not now when it's a significant part of your stack. It can't be right. If you can't withstand a re-raise, you shouldn't be limping when you can't afford it. That's it. If you get that in your head, it'll help you a great deal. Kazdan, don't dare limp. Please don't limp. Oh, it's my limp detector on. I've got a horrible feeling he might. Oh, no. Oh, no, okay, that's better. He didn't limp. That's fine. That's much better. No probs, Kaz. That's much better. You made a move with your chips. You asked a question. You've got fold equity. Much, much better. You could not afford to limp. You've asked a question with it. You're under the gun, represented great strength. Well done. Top marks. From making a horrible play the time before, you've made a great move there. Well done. Okay, 10 Jack. Jack. Six on the turn, but Kaz is gone, I'm afraid. And 10 Jack, Stewart exterminates him. Okay, welcome back to the studio. Kara's still busy there. Really focusing well. I am so proud of her. I am. That's good.
Thanks very much.
And she's got notes written down there.
I do. I've been doing my homework.
She's been. I'm pleased. She's in the good books. Right, I'll tell you what. We'll see if we've got a little email here. A little refresh. Okay. Yes, we've got an email from Rory. Hi, Rory. Hi, it's Rory in South Wales. Great show. James is... Oh, my goodness, you're going to make me blush. Great show. James is a top man for advice. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much, sir. This is a comment. Question. I've been playing online for about a year now. You must be tired. And I've took on board some of your advice. Thank you. And my game has improved. But it seems to me that no matter how good a player you are and how much you stick to a good poker regime, it comes down to how lucky you are. It's frustrating sometimes when you get good starting hands and get nothing on the flop, turn or river. And this can happen for a long time. I watch your show most nights, but you hardly seem to mention what a major part luck plays in this game. I would love to hear James's comments on the subject of luck in the game. I'm sure there are many people out there who are fairly new to the game who get disillusioned by bad luck. Thanks, Rory. Okay, Rory. That's an interesting little topic you've just brought up there. Yes, my view on this is that obviously in the short run, luck is the dominant factor. So in the short run, Luck is the dominant factor, but in the long run, skill is the determining factor. And we shouldn't be worried about the luck, because what we have to do is we have got to play correctly. And we've got to be aware that there is luck. And in fact, we probably should praise the fact that there's luck, because this factor is going to unsettle other people. And we mustn't let it unsettle us. We've got to let this luck factor send people on tilt, send them crazy, get them trying too many different plays. But we should realise that when we play correctly and we keep on playing correctly, luck, in the long run, it won't happen on a night or a week necessarily, in the long run, luck will average itself out. So therefore, our only thing we want to do is to keep making the correct plays. So that's why we should celebrate luck, not complain about it. So yes, we will have some bad spells. We will have some very unlucky spells. And that's why I also advise everyone to make sure that they're playing within their bankroll, so we can withstand the fluctuations, the ups and downs. But celebrate them, because it's going to unsettle the others more than it should unsettle us. So don't worry about it. Okay, I've got sad to say, someone's joined us back.
It might not be sad.
No, I love her dearly.
I've been playing for 40 minutes.
You have been playing for a long time. I love her dearly, but let's hope it's good news that she's back with. Anyway, she's back anyway. I'd love to have her back.
Well, thank you very much. I was feeling a bit hurt there for a second.
No,
Didn't want my input, but oh well.
No, definitely want your input. I want you next to me, firing away.
Oh, bless. Well, thank you very much for that, and thank you for your moral support and the lovely impressions as well. I could hear going on over here. Everyone's appreciating them, just so that you know.
Oh, that's
the viewers
good.
seem to love them. And we're getting some emails as well, and questions for you on poker, as you are the expert, and this is the Ask the Expert portion of the show. So let's go to one of those. It's from one of your favourite viewers.
No.
It's Flirty Liz. Here we go.
I haven't heard from for ages.
Flirty Liz, hot and cold. She's playing hot and cold. Treat them mean, keep them keen.
Kara,
She's been sending in some lovely emails for our James here. If you haven't been following the saga that is the Flirty Liz and James
I hope she's got a
romance.
Reason. When I went to Sweden, she promised she was going to send a photo in.
Did she not? But if you were in Sweden, why would she send a photo?
No, she said it would be there when I came back.
Oh.
So I rushed back from Sweden.
And there's no picture.
No.
Maybe tonight's the night. Maybe tonight is the night. So if you want to send in your
I'm
picture,
glad
Flirty Liz.
I'm excited just the thought that she's emailed in.
Well, here we go. Well, let's read the email out first, and you can see what you think. Right, this is Flirty Liz in Yorkshire. Hiya, Flirty Liz. She says, "Hi, James. Good to see you back. Did you have a good trip to Sweden? I missed the show last night, but watched the replay, of course. I'm glad your Beat the Presenter opponents were thinking about me, and I hope you were too. See, Flirty Liz gets her name for a reason. I just wanted to agree with the viewer who asked for a little more of the maths behind poker. Decision-making based on numbers is one of the skills I brought to poker from my day job, business analyst, strategist, etc. I'm sure that my understandings of probabilities has given me an edge over other beginning poker players. That's probably true. I've also learned a huge amount from Poker Night Live, but sometimes I feel I'm learning what to do in certain situations without always understanding why. For example, a presenter said that small or medium pocket pairs should not be played against should be played either against one opponent or against lots of opponents, but not against 3 or 4. Could you explain the maths behind this advice? P.S. And before anyone suggests otherwise, yes, girls can be interested in maths. I'm sure Mrs. Bandit and Snakey, etc. would all agree. Love, Flirty Liz." So no picture, a good maths question, showing that she's serious, which is what we like, because obviously, serious poker player. And so what do you think to that then? Yeah. Disappointed she's not picture, obviously, but then moving past that.
Not even a kiss, actually.
Well, no, but she's put a little exclamation mark.
Oh, an exclamation mark.
And she said, "Love, Flirty Liz," so you know.
She's a bit more of the profile, business analyst, so now we've got, the picture is sort of slowly forming.
That's going on his
smart
notes.
Smart lady, bright.
Yeah.
Smart, articulate. The picture is sort of, it's like a jigsaw, isn't it?
Loves poker. It sounds like an ad, really, a personal ad. Smart, articulate lady, loves poker, would like to meet, anyways.
Right. The small pairs, basically, if you're playing a a ring game or even a tournament in the early stages, I think the small pairs, I think the small pairs should be played as drawing hands. I think you should limp in if you can and try and hit that lovely magical 7-to-1 shot and click the trips. And in that case, I believe that you're best off having as much company as possible. Because when you hit your trips, or if you hit your trips, then there's more likely that someone will be there to pay you off. Because when you hit your trips, you are taking up 1/3 of the flop. I.e., there's 3 cards, and to hit your trips, you've got 1 of them. So that's 1 of 3 cards. So it's only leaving 2 cards left for the others to connect with, unless they've already got a made hand. So therefore, I want more company there. 1, that they're more likely to hit a hand. 2, so that I can be well rewarded for hitting my 7-to-1 shot, and I can make lots of money off them. I want to be well paid for it. You don't want to hit a 7-to-1 shot and win a peanut. This is not very good. When you hit your 7-to-1 shot, you want to come out of there with loads and loads of chips. What was the other bit she said? I didn't agree. Playing against one person generally with a small pair, I think, is actually very, very dangerous myself. And I highlighted one here before. When you're playing out of position against one person, I think this is a no-no generally, because it's unlikely you're going to get paid from the person if you hit. The other thing is, if you're out of position, most of the cards, if you play with a small pair, like the one we saw there before, you have a pair of 4s, most of the cards are likely to be over cards. You're not going to like any of them, because you might think your opponent could have connected with those. So you're going to have to check, and now they can bet with nothing, and you're probably going to have to pass. Very difficult. So when I make a decision whether to call with a small pair, I'm looking ahead to say, right, if I call now, what happens next? Well, what happens next is 7 times out of 8, I miss my 4. So I'm probably going to check. And what happens next is my opponent bets. And what happens next, I'm probably going to have to pass. Doesn't sound very profitable to me. If you've got position, it does change. If you've got position and you're against a certain sort of player, it does change. If they're a passive sort of player, yes, you then might be able to either connect or push them off a hand. Then it becomes a different scenario.
Ah, well, that was a very thorough answer. You certainly took your time and explained in depth, and I'm sure all the viewers are very grateful for that. I'm sure it had nothing to do with the fact that it was a text question or email question from Flirty Liz. You're always that thorough. And I particularly like the piercing stare into the camera as well as he was answering. I don't know about you, but this is also one-sided.
Kerry, your poker skills are getting scarily good.
Well, thank you very much.
I'd actually forgotten I was talking to Flirty Liz, really. It was just the subject that took over.
Yes, you're impassioned by the subject of maths, as so many people are.
You're suspicious, aren't you?
I'm a little suspicious, but I'm feeling quite Scylla right now. And I'd like a reason to buy a nice hat. So, Liz, if you wouldn't mind sending us a photo in, not that, it's really important, but obviously we would definitely like to round out the profile that we're building of you. Hey, who knows, maybe we'll even, show it on telly. We probably would, actually, if you sent it in, if it's a proper photo. And I think that would be a great idea. What do you think? I know, so I'm feeling very Scylla. So there you go. That's your task, Flirty Liz. You did promise. And,
anyway, I hope that helped, Liz, anyway.
Yeah, he wants to move on now, I can tell. Moving on to another email here. Here we go.
No, it's a good email. It was a good email.
It was a great email and a good question. Now, this is from Sidey UK, and it's about a play in the shootout last night. There we go.
Right.
Right, it says, evening, guys. This email is aimed at James. I'm Sidey UK, and I was playing in last night's poker player shootout. My demise came when my king-queen ran into queens, and I have to admit the fault. King-queen rules in the land of the unraised pot, yes. And it's Latin translation that I've provided you twice. Yes, this is very true. King-queen rules in the land of the unraised pot. Why didn't I follow this? Well, it was Friday night. I'd played poker for nearly 5 hours, and I'd had a few brandies, and I got a little bit cocky. Needless to say, I'll be thinking next time. After watching the hands back, I had more chips than I thought, and I'm ashamed I didn't put it down. I had enough play left, but there you go. Viewers, don't drink and play. Wise, wise, sage advice. But I must say, to any of the players who played last night, well done. For a free roll, the poker was amazing, especially Homer Jifong, 99, I don't know if I said that right, probably not, who battled with me for 20 minutes heads up in the semi-final. Wow. I recorded the show and watched it back today, and if ever you or Nick want to take me for a pint, it will be much appreciated. That's a bit cheeky. And then you can put a face to the nickname. Well, you know what? It is always really nice to be able to put faces to the nicknames, and thankfully, when we do the final of the Poker Night Live Poker Bowl, we will actually get some of the viewers here in the studio playing live, so people at home is going to be able to see what some of them look like as well. So there you go. So what do you think about that?
Just recap what his name is.
That was Sidey UK.
Oh yes, Sidey UK. Okay, so that's
so
right.
King Queen rules in the land
yes.
of the unraised pot.
Well, I think you've virtually answered it yourself, haven't you? I think, you know, yet again, I think it's just a case there where that rule would have stood up well. And as long as you understand the principle of that rule, it's great. You know, King Queen is one of these problem hands. And basically, just for, I'm sure you do understand it, but for the viewers who are perhaps just joining us for the first time, my saying, which I made up here one night and has now sort of become quite popular, is referring to this. I.e., when you happen to be in an unraised... The problem with King Queen is if when you've got it and you connect the flop, you don't know where you are, because you have problem hands where you've run into the guy who's got Ace King or Ace Queen, and you're dominated. So therefore, you're moving tentatively in these pots. So you can only win sort of smallish pots, but you could probably end up losing some quite big ones. This is not a good balance to have. So therefore, when you're in a pot and it hasn't been raised, yes, it's possible they could have limped in with their Ace King. It's possible they could have limped in with their Ace Queen. But more times than not, people will have made a move with these. They will have raised with them. So therefore, when you're not in a raised pot, then when you hit your King and the Queen, you can be far more confident. So now you can win a bigger pot with it, because you can say, hang on, this looks pretty good. Even if you hit your King and the Queen and there's an ace out there, there's a good chance no one even has an ace because they'd have raised with it. You might even be able to push with that and even knock someone with an ace and a low kicker, get them to put their hand down. So the King Queen suddenly rules, becomes powerful, strong, a giant. But that's when it's an unraised pot.
Yes, this is a good principle, and we must remember it. I think
yes.
That's great. Okay, we have time for one more quick email here.
Okay.
Again, about a play, but this one's from tonight. This is from What's Pup.
And
we were talking about What's
well.
Pup earlier in the show. So thanks for the analogy. Thanks for the analogy of the queens versus the aces. I can answer that the play was as poor as you put it. Perhaps a call was better, then I could have gotten away from the hand, seeing that I didn't hit the flop. But the player in question had played a few pots prior to you going live with the same overplays on lesser hands than ace-ace. Queen-queen running into ace-ace happens, but I will make the same move with queen-queen on these tables. If I laid down queen-queen every time I got dealt them, I'd look mighty foolish and would never make profits that I do each year. These profits have paid for 3 trips to Las Vegas in 2 years. We believe you. Sound a bit defensive there. Generally, I don't play cash games, but prefer tournaments. The only experience of cash games that I have has been on live $2 and $4 fixed limit games in Las Vegas, where I made a healthy profit each session. Your comments have been taken on board, and percentage-wise, next queen-queen I get, I'll just fold pre-flop, jokingly. Now, if you're going to be, you know, sarcastic about it, remember that we actually said, or you actually said, and I was learning at the feet of the master, that queen-queen is a great hand, but if someone has re-raised you, that's when you might need to put it down. Don't just fold it pre-flop.
No. It also depends. Also, when you said this player had been making a lot of re-raises prior to this, that's what I also included. I said if the window of hands becomes larger that the player can have, i.e. if they can have jacks, tens, nines, which I mentioned, now the queens can play. If they've got a lot more hands. But if the person is a very rocky player and would only be playing with aces, kings or ace king, then you should put it down. And it doesn't matter how much money you win, because if you follow that, you'd actually end up winning more.
Well, there you go. Right, so lots of good advice. Now, Flirty Liz, one last time, just one last time, I promise, if you are still out there, do email in and send in a picture, because I personally would love to see a little bit of a love match happening here live on air. And for the rest of you, we will be back after a very short break, so don't go anywhere. We have Beat the Presenter next, and you're going to want to see how that pans out.
I'm looking forward to it.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the third hour of Poker Night Live. It's beginner's night here on Poker Night Live. If you're new to the show, what we do is we bring you internet poker. These are games that are being played in real time by real people for real money, and we're bringing them to you so that you can see everyone's cards on the table through the magic of software and whatnot, and learn a bit about poker. That's the theory, and a lot of you out there are learning a lot about poker. Let's see if I learned anything about poker in the time I've been here, because I, in the last hour, was playing a tournament, a $5 tournament, on the Beat the Presenter slot, and a lot of the viewers out there were trying to beat me. I'm not going to give away how it went, but let's go and take a look, and you can tell me how you think I did.
I'm looking forward to this, Kara. Let's have a go.
Everyone on the table was absolutely lovely, and we had a lot of our regulars there as well.
And there's Great Scott, which is Kara, and that's quite a tasty hand to start with.
Isn't it, though?
Right,
I'm not going to say anything here, actually.
And okay, I don't mind.
Okay, I limped in. I thought, I'll see the flop. Someone else has limped in, so, you know.
I don't mind this.
Okay.
You can see where you are, because if you raise it now, that you could be being asked questions and all sorts, and you could get depleted.
Now, I completely missed this, I have to admit.
Okay, it's 3,
this
4,
is a straight
5.
draw.
Yes, but it's a middle pin straight draw for you.
Yeah.
It's only a 2. This is a flop which someone else could have connected with.
Every one of us still in the hand has an ace.
It's unbelievable,
isn't it?
So you actually got no outs for your ace, and of course the middle pin straight draw is there for anyone else who's got an ace.
Yeah.
So it's irrelevant. So actually, you're in terrible shape. You've only got kings to really. To get anywhere. Now the 2 comes, so this is quite amusing. You've all got a straight.
I know.
But surely someone's going to be worried about someone having a 6.
You know what? And I'm ashamed to admit this.
You didn't think of that?
I didn't see it.
Okay.
I was sitting there writing down everyone's names on my piece of paper to do my homework.
Right.
And
Loomis
I completely
has made a
missed
bet.
it.
Loomis is normally can bet with anything as well. There's a problem here. But now this has been called, so you just passed it.
Which is terrible because I had...
Well, that looks like you have thought there could be a 6 there.
Yeah.
And look at this now. This is incredible. Frantic's now raised to represent. He's got. Oh, and now the 6 comes.
I know, and he's got the 7.
Oh my goodness! Well, how good you got away from all this.
I'm glad I got away from it. I wish I'd done it more thoughtfully, but I'm glad I got away from it.
I think it was technically you were right to pass it there because it's a very small pot. If you've all got aces, you're only sharing it anyway.
Right.
There's more betting to come.
Yeah.
What if someone has got a 7, then the 6, if it comes, it's not a share, he goes ahead. What if someone's already got a 6? You don't know where you are.
Yep.
You were actually right to get away from it.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that.
So that was fine.
I'm glad to hear that.
And, wow, what a weird hand, though.
It was very strange.
Absolutely weird.
When it came to the showdown and I saw what they both had,
you couldn't believe it.
No, I really couldn't. I thought that's just the weirdest thing.
Yeah. But no, that was, as it happens, it looks like that looks like a professional play you've done there.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I was trying. I have to admit, though, a lot of the stuff I did tonight, even the stuff that worked out, probably wasn't as thoughtful as it should have been. Right. I'm going to give you I'm going to give you my excuse now, and I swear it'll be the one and only time I say this. I feel quite fuzzy-headed tonight because I am still quite jet-lagged. I only just got back in the country. And so I really do apologise. I was trying desperately to take notes on the other players, and I did, and we'll go through those later.
Okay, great.
And I was trying not to get involved in the chat, which completely I failed at, I have to say. There was some interesting chat. Even a couple of the players were involved in a little fender bender accident, and that was kind of going around, and it was just all too interesting. So...
Yes, we'll translate fender. It's a It's a bumper in England.
Yes, we say fender bender is like, what would you say here if you bump into someone's car?
We know what it means.
Okay, good. All right. See, I forget, having been back
but we
to
do
my
call
homeland.
it a bumper.
A bumper, right. A bumper bumper.
We don't call it that. No.
Oh.
A bump. We'd call it a bump. Had a bump in the car.
Had a bump. Okay. Well, a couple of them had a bump.
Yeah.
Now there's
Be
some
careful you don't
queens.
replace it with a J.
No.
Frantic here with ace queen. What happens here? Oh, and it's asking a question from Frantic. Now, will Buffy Be Good give the answer? What does he think?
Yeah.
Well, it's a re-rate. Oh, well. Now it's got to the stage now. That's a great flop for Buffy Be Good. If he's going to call a bet, then he might as well bet it. That's the thing. So if he would check and would call a Frantic bet, well then Buffy Be Good might as well just bet.
Yeah.
And that's what he does.
Now, if this was the Grand National,
Oh!
Buffy has just fallen at the first hurdle, and that was just, it must have been absolutely gutting.
Yeah. And
Frantic
ace
doubled
on the
right
turn
up there.
there, and it was, obviously we saw Frantic was well on the wrong side of that.
Yeah.
The ace queen against the queens.
Ouch.
Yes.
Great
and,
for Frantic, not
yeah,
good
ace
for Buffy.
queen, overplayed the ace queen a bit there. So there's a bit of a note there to see that he is quite capable of re-raising with an ace queen. So that would be something we'd be putting in our notes.
Yeah, and I've done it in a sort of really vague way,
Okay.
but it is actually, just from having watched a lot of Frantic's play, I did notice that he was playing with a lot of hands that...
So you,
Some of the
loose.
others
You thought he was
wouldn't
quite loose
Yeah.
player. Yep. Okay. Well, that's basically what you're saying, isn't
And I
it?
didn't have a
So
chance
there-
to write anything about Buffy.
And that's but that's what you do there. Is you say he's capable of doing a re-raise with ace queen suited.
Yeah, and
So-
that would be a much better note.
So
then.
that would be that would give you an indication.
Yeah.
So now when you've got your pair of queens, now it's more likely you don't have to run away because he's capable of using those lesser hands.
Yeah.
So he's probably capable of doing it with a pair of jacks, as I said, so he's more capable. So this is how we assess the players.
Yeah, and as Buffy Be Good was leaving the table, the people at the table were saying something about Frantic being quite a...
Ace, king, queen, jack 10
Oh, yes.
for Bulgarian. Sorry.
Bulgarian.
Just a pair of 5s for Lumas. But Lumas does like to make moves.
Yeah. Yeah. And he even said in the chat box, tell James that I'm not going to play quite as loose tonight.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, no,
Ouch.
Lumas does like to make moves. And this is not terrible. I mean, it goes in his favour a lot of the time. He does, but at least he's got away from it. You know, he's made his move, he's got a pair, he's made his
Yeah.
move, and he's got away from it.
Pair of kings are for
Frantic there, now he's
Frantic.
got a real hand.
Yeah.
And he's, look at that actually. Now there's interesting. What would you note there if you were to see this hand?
It definitely doesn't just do the standard raise. I don't know if this one came to a showdown or not.
Oh, right, look at that. He's
Yeah.
made it 160.
Wow.
And he's been re-raised. Now you know there that your opponent has definitely got a made hand, don't you, when he's re-raised 480. But
Exactly.
So now it's according to the opponent. What do you put him on? Do you put him on aces or aces and kings or aces, kings and queens? It's up
Frantic
to
didn't
you.
put him on that, that's for
So
sure.
he thinks he's capable of having the queens as well as the aces and kings.
Yeah.
So he decided he's going to stay in there.
Yeah.
And it's a full house. 3 9s and 2 queens for Dead Spiders, but it's a full house, 3 9s and 2 kings for Frantic.
And yeah.
And another one bites the dust.
That's true.
And Great Scott's equity has just gone up. You're worth more now than when you started. And that's just purely because of the demise of 2 players.
Yeah, we are now 6 seated here.
And the reason is it's easier to get into the prize money when there's 6 players left than when there's 8. So you're already, even though you've lost a few chips, you've lost 60 chips or whatever, but you're in better shape.
Yeah.
If we did an equity run on this, your equity would have risen.
Good.
Even though you've lost chips, your equity would be higher.
Yeah.
And we've had a small raise from King Queen.
Yeah, I was thinking I might, well, not with Jack 9. I don't think
No.
that was the point where I was thinking
No,
I might
no,
limp
no,
in
no.
and just see a flop, but even then.
Well, there was a raise there now
Yeah.
anyways.
Oh, yeah, there's no way I would put any more money in if
So
I'd seen that
Bulgarian,
raise.
he's done the pre-flop raise. He's now tried a baby bet, 40 into a bet of 110. Well, it's enough. He's decided that Gullo will put this down. So
Yeah.
I don't think I would have been doing the same play as Bulgarian then, but in the end, he did at least follow it up. He followed up for very low risk. He actually won that pot for low risk, so he actually pitched the bet. He judged the situation well because he actually got the guy to pass for 40. So if the guy had got a hand, he could easily put it down if he got raised, but he actually managed to get him to pass for 40, which was amazing.
Yeah,
So
a lot less risk.
So it did actually look like a good play in the end. No one's connected here.
No. We're just
Frantic
checking
now
back and
bets
forth.
20.
No way. I didn't have anything. I shouldn't even have seen the flop, but I mean...
What did you have? You had, sorry, Jack 9?
Yeah.
Well, you saw it for cheap.
Yeah.
The only thing there is you have a chance, possibly, because the board is paired and because there was no raise, you
Maybe I
don't
could have pushed
necessarily think that anyone's got the king. And
Yeah.
because there's a pair on the board, if you had actually put in a little bet there when he checks,
He may have thought I had trips.
or
something.
you might
Yeah.
have had the third card to make the pair, or you might have
Yeah.
had a pair, I think it would have been difficult for him to call it. You did have position, that was the best
Yeah.
thing you had.
So I maybe should have used
However,
that a bit more.
if he checked again that second time, do you think you might have tried? Or supposing that second time, instead of betting
yeah.
a small bet, you might have tried?
Yeah, I think
Maybe. Okay.
so. I think so.
So you can look for that, because if you are in position, then often we do try and utilise position. But still, it's early
Especially-
stages, and I don't mind you conserving your chips.
I was
So the
making-
principle of conserving your chips is okay.
Yeah. I was conserving chips, and I was still sort of forming my opinion of Frantic as being a fairly loose player, and I don't think I'd quite settled
Well,
on that yet.
The thing is, now Frantic has got a lot of chips, so he can
Yeah.
actually play a lot of different hands. And,
Yeah, and he's
we've got
got,
Lumas here with one of his funnies. He's got two pairs, aces and sevens, and Frantic's got the pair of
Aces
aces.
and eights.
But
He had eights.
yeah, with eights, aces and eights.
Oh. So,
So
goodbye to
poor
Loomis.
Lumas, another one down. Two pair against two pair.
Yeah.
Unlucky Lumas.
Yeah, that is unlucky. That is unlucky.
And Frantic just calls there with Queen 5. Now that's actually, I don't mind this. He's actually, because he's got a lot of chips, his chips are worth less to him.
Right.
He's got position. So he thinks, hang on, these people, if I get, they mightn't be so keen to fight me, because they're sort of, they're not that chipped up. So he's there. Now we'll see if he actually utilises his position. There we are. Oh, he doesn't try anything. He had an opportunity there to pop in a little bet. He could have bet in, represented something. Well, we'll see what happens if it's checked twice to him again. Check. And if it's checked again, I think it's going to be worth a bet from Frantic. He's got a lot of chips. He can surely pop in 100 there or something. No, he doesn't. I'm surprised. Well, no, I'm surprised there by Frantic. He had enough chips so you could have actually
Yeah.
bet 80 or something. It looked like a good proposition. You'd be getting paid 6 to 4 your money, and I think there'd be a good chance that your opponents would pass after check from both of them.
Yeah.
Great Scott here on the big blind with King 10. There's a raise from Frantic, and Kara called the raise. It was a small raise. Got two suited cards, big cards, King 10. And the only problem is that you're out of position.
Yeah.
But you've got quite a good flop for you. Oh, and Frantic's just checked it down again. This is cool. Oh, great Scott.
Yeah, that wasn't bad.
You bet 40, and he doesn't even call it. Wow.
Yeah, I wanted to see if I could pull him in, but obviously with a board like that, there's just no way. But I tried.
Yeah. It's interesting there when Frantic had actually checked after the flop. Then the card comes as 7. I don't think you think that's a danger card to you. And I think there, with your King 10 suited, you've got a flush draw. You might well presume that hitting a king or a 10 will win for you. I think you should have actually put in a bet on the turn.
Really?
And represent it was a semi-bluff, and you could have not too big a bet, and you could have bet there.
Maybe pull in some more.
Well, no, not pull him over. Get rid of him.
Oh, so that he doesn't
Because
hit
you
it.
mightn't hit. You're not favoured to hit your flush. You'd be very
Right.
happy for him to pass there.
I see.
But if he does call, then you've got the escape route of hitting your flush or hitting your overcard or whatever.
Right.
So on that turn, when you look at the card, you say, is that the sort of card he would have actually wanted to raise with? I don't think so.
Right.
Now you're going to put the bet in, a measured size bet 3/4 of the pot, or even up to the pot size.
Okay.
And then a semi-bluff. If he calls, well then you just have to, you want to make your hand now, and if you do, it's more likely you're going to get paid on your hand, because he thinks it's less likely that you were betting on the come.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The way you played it looked like you were waiting for it.
Right.
So that way you'd have had the benefit of that. But the real benefit is you'd have got him to put the hand down without you having to make your hand.
Right. It would have made it safer for me.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
I can see
if
that.
he calls, then we go down the other route to see what happens next.
Gotcha. Just capitalise on that more.
Yes. If you're going to be in that situation, well then you've got to play that situation out.
Okay. Okay.
Because you'd picked up the clues. You'd picked up the clues. You'd done a small pre-flop raise. You checked, and he didn't bet, which is quite unusual for a pre-flop raiser.
Mm-hmm.
Next card comes, 7. You don't think it's helped him. You've still got your flush draw. You've still got out, even if he's got a pair or whatever. And now you could have just bet.
Okay.
And hope that he passed.
Yeah, I got to keep that in mind. I think I was trying to be careful.
Yeah.
But I just, didn't capitalise.
Yeah.
Okay.
You just didn't fully play the hand.
Yeah, I was being too timid, I think, with it.
And if you just play that trying to hit that hand, obviously you now just you're not going to hit it so often, and so therefore more times than not you're not going to win that hand.
Yeah.
So you could have increased the time you win that hand,
Okay.
and also have the bonus that sometimes when it goes wrong and they call, you're going to actually probably end up winning quite a reasonable sized pot, because you can charge them a bit and they're more likely to pay it.
Got ya. Okay. Well, Gullo's just stolen my big blind.
Right.
Grr. With 6-5, I actually was thinking, should I try and steal his big blind, but...
I don't think you should at this stage.
No, I think Scotty plays quite tight. But he may have actually had
If you
a hand.
think he plays quite tight, you could have just made up the small blind.
Right, and then just seen the flop.
Yeah. Because if he plays tight, it means he won't be raising you unless he's got a hand.
That's a good
In
point.
that case, now you should have a look.
Yeah.
You should just make up, because 6-5 is quite a nice just hand to make
Yeah.
up, because you'll know where you are. If it doesn't connect, it'll be very easy to throw away, but it could connect in a big way. You might hit 2 pair, you might get lucky, flop a straight, or whatever. You might hit trip 6s, trip 5s. You'll know when you connect, and if you don't connect, easy to pass.
Yeah.
So if he's tight, then you can make up the small blind, because you're getting 3-1 your money. There's a 40 and 20, there's 60 in the middle lane, you've only got to put 60 in. You're getting 3-1 your money. It's your hand is likely to be better chance than 25%, obviously.
Yeah.
You could have just, and so if he's passive, if he's tight, you could try and make up the blind.
Okay.
If he raises it, you can just put it down.
Right. Yeah, I think I really should have seen more.
Right, so that's just one there. That was the one. But that's against your opponent. If you're against an action guy who won't let you limp in, don't try and do it.
Yeah.
If he always raises you every time you limp in, you know you're not allowed to limp in.
Okay.
So again, what this is what? What is it we're really doing? What is the key factor here? We're looking at our opponents.
Yeah, right.
We
Who are they? What do they do generally
exactly.
in this kind
and every
of situation?
opponent is different.
They certainly
And
are.
now we have to analyse those differences and let those differences affect our play as they do.
Okay. Absolutely.
Okay, the blind's up to 40-80.
Yeah.
And we've got Scotty's done a 3 times the big blind with his A7. Looks like he's going to get it. Yep, he does.
Yeah, he does.
Well, that's not the sort of hand you want to get in the big blind.
No, it really isn't.
But you're in good shape here. There's 5 players.
Yeah. So I really should have loosened up at this point.
Well, no, you're still all right. You're not panicky. It's 120 around. You've got more than... I mean, listen, this is a fast structure tournament anyway.
Right.
I don't call that, so I put that down. That's fine.
Okay. I am starting to think, okay, I've got basically 10 times a big blind.
Yeah.
I'm going to need to look for a hand to capitalize on what I've got, and then I get 6-2. So I thought, well, maybe not.
And there's a raise there.
And there's a raise,
That's right. Nothing you can do. You can't do anything with that. You can't So
Yeah, don't let me get away with explaining away my actions either, just so that you know, because I think there are definitely ways I should have and could have played much better in this game. So all the constructive criticism is gratefully received.
We're looking here now.
King 9. I put it
Why
down.
are we looking at that? I don't know if we can hold this or not. Can we go back to that?
No,
Okay.
don't think so.
Basically, you've got to be considering there why, because you were on the button
Yeah.
against 2 blind hands.
Yeah.
Had you been tight in the game? Had you got a
Yeah.
solid image?
I think so.
Very solid image. So it was one to consider. Oh, so I missed how you bet this.
I did 2 times the big blind. There was
Okay.
nothing beforehand. Saw the flop.
Okay,
Didn't
a
connect
check
with flop,
from
but
there.
I've
Now
still
you-
got.
Right, there's 400 in the middle. I don't like that bet at all.
No? Really?
Too small.
Is it? Oh, is it too small?
Oh, much too small. I mean, it's just you're just giving someone tremendous value if they've got a flush draw.
Gotcha.
Are you going? You're just there. Basically, you've got to presume that's a great flop for you there. You have hardly got enough chips to be putting that hand down now. You should have just basically whacked it.
Really?
Yeah, and just asked the question there.
Okay.
Because basically, if someone had a flush draw, you're letting them have a look at it for 80. You're giving them
You're
tremendous value.
You're right.
They're getting huge odds if they've got a flush draw. He didn't have it, but he could have had.
Yeah.
So that's why that was an error.
Okay.
Big error.
Yep, you're right. I can
Big
see that
error.
now. Massive.
Really underbetted.
Right.
It doesn't matter that they pass to you. Say, oh, well, they passed for it anyway. Irrelevant.
Yeah.
We're looking at what happens in that situation the next 100 times you play it and against all the variety of hands that you could be against.
Yeah.
So don't pat ourselves on the back because we won the hand. That's irrelevant.
It's luck.
Because
That's
the
not
result
skill.
of one hand is insignificant.
Yeah.
Whether you win, lose or draw, it's insignificant. It's
You're right.
what is the right way to play it in the long run. Did not like that one.
Okay.
Sorry.
Nope, that was a bad
Really.
bad
Can
move.
you see it now?
I do, yeah, absolutely
Okay.
see it. That was a bad move.
And you've got a great one. Do you want to see a jack, a queen, a king or an ace come over?
No, you're absolutely right.
You'll hate them all, so stop them.
Yeah.
You've
point.
you've raised, the guy doesn't want to do anything. In fact, just push. Ask the
Yeah.
question. Just get him out.
Yeah.
Why? Because you don't want to have another fence in this Grand National.
This is true. This is true. Yeah. No,
Now, you got away with it, but that's irrelevant. You didn't want to have another fence.
that
there
was
you
just
go.
luck. Okay. Yeah.
So,
No gold star there.
nope. But if you learn from it, it's great. Great Scott here. Now you're 860. I think you've really got a situation here. You can.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Should have.
Yes.
Even with A6.
Yes, because there's why? Tell me why.
Because there were only 2 people I was
And
up
who are they?
against. The big and the small blind.
So they've got there for no reason.
Yeah.
They're there because they have to be there.
I guess so. I was a bit worried that they might have a hand, and if A6, I can't really follow that up.
Yeah, but you can even bet powerfully. You can put a it still was 40-80. Yeah, you could have made it 240.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Another missed opportunity. I did say, you know what? I did not play that well.
Well, because
in
we're
this.
down to 5 players here now as well, so it's going well for you in that case.
Right.
And this would be a nice time just to have actually taken on another 120 on your stack there.
Yeah, because I need it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're right.
Because it's 5 players, the blinds are coming round quicker,
Mm-hmm.
obviously.
Yeah.
So, and now the blinds are just about to go up as well. It's 81.60.
Ouch. Yeah, now I don't even have 10 times a big blind, and it's a little bit scary.
Well, you've got to look what the round's costing you. The round's costing you 240.
Yeah.
And how many rounds have you got? Well, you've got
Oh.
three. You've got just over 3 rounds.
Ouch.
Okay, and now you're on a random hand.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we'll see what happens. Oh, lucky for you, there's a real hand there. Queens.
Yeah.
Is he going to let you know it's a real hand? He does.
Mhm.
Well, no question for you there. You have to get rid of that one. And Gullo will pass as well, I presume. Yep, you both pass. And you... Okay, raise from Helgarian. That was alright, it was a good
Oh,
Good play by him. No, I think both people have to pass that. That's fair enough. Right, you've now really you've got to look for your situation now.
I should have gone.
This is good situation.
Yeah, I didn't.
Oh, perfect. Bang.
I
all
should
in.
have gone all in here.
All in.
And
All in with
I
king 9.
didn't. So I won't even make you wait to. I'm
Okay.
thinking, what do I do? What do I
Why
do?
are you all in? Because you're against the 2 blinds.
Yeah, and I should have done.
Scotty
No,
might
you're
well have
right.
called you. That's irrelevant. He's not favoured to have an ace.
Mm-hmm.
You know, king 9 is a well above average hand,
Yeah.
and it's that was your situation. And listen, I've seen people put the ace 5 down.
Yeah. I know, I should have. And look, now I've got the ace 5, and again.
Ah, but it's a different. Oh no,
Yeah.
it's not. He's a blind here now. So no, beg your pardon. Yes, you're in the cut-off again.
Yeah, I put it down.
Again, that was it. Again, you should have pushed.
Yeah. I played this
Because
all wrong.
620.
And then I
oh,
saw
look
the
at
ace
this.
come up, I know, and
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah, you missed an opportunity. There's
completely.
2. Yeah, there's 2 there I would have actually pushed on
Yeah,
because of your situation. 620 chips
you're right.
and the blinds. Now you haven't even got 3 rounds.
No.
So that's 2 there. Okay, I would. You're actually in a situation where virtually most hands are pushes. I mean,
Yeah.
I could have pushed with that as well, believe it or not.
I know.
Suited connected, you know, I could have just about pushed with that as well because
Yeah.
you're now on the big blind on
Again,
a random hand.
Yeah. And I lost the thread of the game. I'll be honest with you, I really lost the thread of the game at this point. And I just did not.
Right, and so you can see
At
what the
all
problem is.
play
This is
well.
why you've come round a big blind. Now you've got a horrible hand. You've got 460 left.
Yeah.
There's a raise. You don't know where you are,
Yeah.
and you've had to put it down. So now you've really been watered down. But you've missed that opportunity when you had enough.
know.
Your fold equity now has disappeared because now
Completely.
people are going to
no
call
one's
you.
Gonna, yeah, the only person I could put off would be Gullo on
Possibly,
a 630.
possibly. Okay,
And even
that's good.
there-
I like that. No, I'm going to give you good marks for that. That's good. You've actually highlighted someone you might have power over or
Yeah.
might make them think twice. So that's good. That's thinking, and that is what I've talked about before. You're having a look around the table
Yeah.
and you're picking up a bit of information. That's great. That's a good, really good step on there that you've done that. And
I'm in such trouble here. And I have to say, at this point, the chat box was going a bit crazy with people telling me that I was being a bit crazy and making fun of the fact that I was doing a chip in a chair. And it's true, and fair enough, because I
well,
really
we can
didn't
see
play
the
this
time.
well.
We saw the times when you missed. We saw your,
Yeah.
your places, didn't we? Saw your pushing
yeah.
movements. Right, now we'll see what happens here. You have an interesting situation here. If there's a raise coming here, we'll see what happens. If there's a raise, you can actually, with your amount of chips, you can play. Oh, well,
Don't even.
funnily enough, this is... If there'd been a raise,
Yeah.
I'd have actually joined in with the 6-7 because I'd be getting the extra money in the middle and the raise
Right.
would frighten them out.
Yeah.
And now I just hope to get lucky with my 6-7.
Fair enough.
Okay,
yeah.
so you've left that one, you're waiting for a hand. You're
I've
gonna,
waited too long.
I presume you're going to wait for, you're going to push this time the next
Yeah.
couple of hands regardless.
I think so. In fact, actually, Bulgarian there, he said he'd missed that hand because he was out praying to the river gods.
Oh.
And so there you go. No, I completely misplayed all of that.
Oh, well, there you go. I presume you're going to have a go now.
I hope I did. I don't actually recall at this point. Probably not. I absolutely played rubbish.
Hang on.
No.
Oh, you
Oh, I
did.
did.
Well done.
Well,
Well done.
I gave it a
yes,
go
you had to do
anyways.
it. You had to do it. And this is great. This is very good play because you've captured the 2 blinds in there. You've captured
Oh,
the
yeah, I
2
remember
blinds. You've captured the 2 blinds, the extra
Yeah.
money, the 80 and the 160. Gullo has squeezed them out.
And
This
I've
is
got triple aces.
yeah, this is a great time to play. You picked a good shot to play there because of the extra money.
It's just a shame I didn't have more chips than that.
Okay, that was
I would
good.
have if I'd played some of the other chances, but you know.
No, it doesn't matter. That was good. That was a great opportunity. You played it. That's right. And now you can put this down. Just about. It's 163.20.
Yeah, that was complete luck. That one was.
Well,
Getting triple aces like that.
well, that was, but it doesn't matter. It wasn't luck to choose to play. That was
Right.
the decision you made, and you made the right decision. And can you see why I like it?
Yes,
because of the
absolutely.
extra money. The 2 blinds are left in the middle.
Yeah, I can see that.
frantic, and you've got a very poor hand again.
Yeah.
You got 680 left. Oh dear.
Oh dear is right.
These blinds are big, aren't they? Expensive.
They certainly are.
This is a tough situation here because there is 480 in the middle, and let's have a look at that. I'll check that in a minute. That one.
Yeah, and everyone, again, as I put that down, was saying, what on earth hand did you have? Because you must have at least something to be pushing in. Yeah.
7, 840. Yeah, you're getting big odds for your money there.
And Gullo just hit his 10.
With even those small suited
Yeah.
connectors there, that was one you were getting big enough odds against a random hand just to get in there. You had to gamble that there because you had the extra. You were going to be heads up with a hand which might just be like 40% or whatever, but that's not bad because you were getting because of your situation. And again, because your fold equity's gone out the window completely.
Oh, completely.
Because you've only got 520.
Yeah,
So
and I'm about
you're not going to get a big blind
blind
to pass, are you?
No.
And now you don't fancy that.
Not in first position. I just, yeah.
So, yes, we missed a situation there before. That's small. We'll have a look at that one in a minute.
No, I've definitely played better.
No, yeah, but you've done some good stuff. Don't
Well,
worry.
yeah, but no, I felt all the way through this game, actually, that I'd lost the thread of it. So I put my hands up. I do, put my hands up. And Gullo hits an ace here, which is very good for him. Very, very good indeed. He doubles through in a nice big way.
Another horrible hand.
I know.
But now you're...
But what can I do? If I go up against the 8 and hit my 8, that would be the biggest pair I could get, but it would give him trips, and it's just...
You're committed with this one.
Completely.
You've got to call it.
Yep.
We know we can see it was a bad shape, but you had to call
I
it.
know. I was thinking if maybe the next hand will be just that much better. Terrible. At this point, I've got 40 chips to my name, and that's just horrendous. That's a quarter of the small blind.
It is.
Yeah. That's an eighth of the big blind. It's terrible.
Well...
It's rubbish. I know.
You don't... Kara!
This is terrible. You know what? I can actually hear the guys in the gallery laughing at my play.
Oh,
I can hear them through the wall laughing.
Look at the odds you were getting for 40.
I know. I can hear people laughing.
Dear me.
Through the walls, here in our little TV studio. I know.
Kara, what?
It was rubbish. I told you, I completely lost the thread of the entire thing. It was terrible. What do you think I'm going to do here?
Well, you're past now, but actually, I would presume. Well, you call this one. Okay, I've disordered your pattern. I don't mind you calling with it. You're getting a bit of extra money for yourself.
Oh, God. Terrible. Absolutely terrible.
Oh, you hit a 10 as well.
Except Frantic's got a 10. It
But he's got the better
matter. It was awful. God.
There it is again.
Oh, don't make me look again.
40 chips. You hit the 10, the river was 10-3. Well, it wasn't terrible going in with that because you were just getting a bit of extra money probably. But, I mean, that stage, funny enough, you could have actually waited with your 40 just to... Oh, dear.
Oh, God. I'm jet lagged.
Okay, now you did some good plays. You did a few good plays.
I did a few good plays.
Listen,
I did some lucky
what we've got to have a look at.
And then
We must have a look at this. You're in a situation where the big blind was 320 and you were on the small blind for 160 and you've got 520 left. So now we've got to look at this situation that what actually is this worth to you. So we'll check it out. So basically
I can't even follow the thread of this at the moment. I'm really sorry.
Oh, really? Okay. The big blind was 320. Big blind was 320.
Yes.
You were
Yep.
the small blind 160,
Yep.
and you had 520 left.
Yep.
So really now time is running out because of the size of the big blinds.
I know.
So you only have to. You can might as well put your 360 in there now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know.
And technically, you know, you're going to be getting good odds for that 360 because you're going to get that 360 matched by your opponent plus that 480. So we add that together and we get
A lot.
840. So you're going to get 840 for 360. That's what you're getting. So therefore you're getting over 2 to 1 your money. In that situation against a random hand, that is a good situation. Can you I know you're tired, but can you understand the maths of that?
Yes.
Okay. So
And
you'd be
I'm
getting
very,
like
very sorry.
2 1/3 to 1 your money there.
Yeah.
So that's one of those situations where you say, okay, against a random hand, if I'm underdog, I'm not going to be 2 1/3 to 1 against. I'll probably be 36% or maybe 40%. Who knows? And you might as well put your chips in there because that has now become mathematical because time is coming out, is running out. And then those other ones you missed, of course, we did miss a few. Never mind, as long as we learn.
I'm really, really sorry.
What were your notes?
Let's go back to the game.
Okay.
I'm really sorry. I played rubbish. I
Well,
know.
you started off like I thought you did made some
I
good
know.
decisions.
And then it just all went downhill.
I think
Wrong,
you just
wrong,
overcompensated and then suddenly became.
I just really lost it.
Yeah,
I was
okay.
not. I played badly. Let's just be really honest about this. I played badly. We can all see that. Let's not sugarcoat it. People at home.
I
are
like
gonna-
the A6. You picked the right time to go in with that. You got value with that.
Yeah.
You captured the value of the small and big blind. Anyway, let's have a look to see who. We'll watch this to see what happens here. Frantic there, who's been moving the groove in the whole tourney.
He's been playing quite loose in a lot of ways. He's accumulated a lot of chips.
Pair of tens for Gullo, a real hand. But 2 overcards for Frantic, so it looks like a collision here.
Oh.
He's got 640 in the middle. He's going to call. He's hit the jack. Oh, sweet as a nut. First card out on the flop.
Yeah.
Only a 10 will save Gullo. Doesn't feel like it's coming. It doesn't
No.
come. And therefore, we have a winner.
Yeah.
The winner is Frantic.
Well done, Frantic.
And well done, Gullo, as well, for
Oh,
coming
yeah,
in second.
absolutely.
But
For the rest of us, we're just losers. Just, there you go. Well, no, I speak only for myself. The rest of you were wonderful.
Now-
Thanks very much.
right. All I'm going to ask you now is, I want 2 things.
What?
I want 2 things that you're coming away from. 2 things to learn from. Okay?
Are you going to tell me what they are? Do I have to tell you?
you're going to tell me 2 things. There's a lot of things you've come from that. I
Okay.
want 2 things you think which you will rethink next time, or you've learnt, or
My head hurts.
2 things. That's all.
Okay.
Okay.
Number one.
Number 1.
Number one. I will look at the equity that I'll be getting from decisions I make rather than just choosing what to do based solely on the cards in the pocket.
That's a pretty solid answer for someone who's tired.
Thank you very much.
Wow, you just knocked me off my seat.
I'm
That's
channeling, like,
okay, very
I
good.
don't know, Harrington or
okay, and
something.
that'll explain some of those. Very good.
And let's see, the second thing, let's try not to ruin the studio while I do it.
That's a good one.
Yeah. The second thing would be not to lose all of my fold equity, to push in with the hand that I have, not to let any ace go, probably, if I'm down to, say, 5 times the big blind, to push in.
Yeah. Okay, that's good.
That's 2.
That's good. I'll give you 1 to take away, and it's a good one. It's an endorsement of what you did.
Right.
And the
Writing it
endorsement
down.
of what you did was, when we're in a low stacked situation, it's very nice now to capture the situation where someone has come in the pot.
Yeah.
There's the small and big blind, which are likely going to get frightened out of the pot.
Ah, yes.
And you can get your chips in there to get the extra money from the small blind, the big blind, and have your stack matched by the other guy.
It's true.
So now you're already getting better odds.
Yep.
So therefore, even if you are an underdog in the hand, you get at least getting rewarded when you win with a nice chunky sized pot.
You know what? I'm not even going to write that down, because that I will just remember, because that's
Okay.
pure gold. No, you're
Good.
absolutely right. And thank you for that. And I really do need the commentary help, so thank you. I appreciate it.
It's the best way for us to learn. That's what's good
I
about Poker Night Live.
I think it is. Right, now let's get away from the tournament action for a little while and clear our heads with a cash game.
What it means on Poker Night Live is even when you lose, you win. Because you go away a better player.
Yes, I feel like
Everyone's
a better person
a winner.
for it.
Everyone's a winner.
I feel like a better person for it. So if anyone else out there wants to just rub the salt in the wound even a little bit more, you can feel free to do that. Just let us know here. Send me an email, send me a text. I can take it. No, really, I can.
She's tough.
I'm tough. Yep. Yep. Right. So there we go. We've got a nice cash game in front of us. 50 cent, $1. Tragic Trev, who was in the chat box, reminding me of his wonderful rendition of What's in the Hole that he sang for me. I love that. I told him I wanted to make it my ringtone, but I just wasn't sure how on my phone. I think it could be a new Christmas #1. There we go.
Yeah, we're on our 50 cent $1, so it means you can buy them for $100. Mm-hmm. Minimum of 10. And
ooh, so those like Benny Pump with 200, he's probably bought into the maximum, and he's made 100.
And Big Mint's got $300.
Wow.
He's minted. He's got the readies.
He is certainly
Lady
minted.
Jane.
Right. Now, we've got loads of emails.
Oh, brilliant.
While we're watching the cash game, do you want to do one over the top?
Yeah, fine.
Okay, let's take a look. We've got an email here from Rory, so I'm going to read you this one. He is in South Wales. So hi, Rory in South Wales. He says, great show. James is a top man for advice. Keep up the good work. This is a comment question. I've been playing online for about a year now, and I've taken on board some of your advice, and my game has improved. But it seems to me that no matter how good a player you are, and how much...
I did this one when you were playing, actually.
Oh, did you?
Yes.
See, I was focused so much on my game.
That was good. You didn't even notice. Yes, we did Rory before.
I didn't even hear you. This one?
No.
Right, this one's from Seasider.
Okay,
we'll go straight to Seasider. He says, hi, James. Great to see you on the box again. You've got a real fan club out there, I'll tell you. Please, can you help? I don't seem to be able to check raise and re-raise often enough, especially when I probably don't have the best hand, but I'm up against not much. Thanks. So what do you think of this? The check raise and re-raise, even though he may not have a great hand.
Yes, there is definitely a time when it's correct to do this. And basically, this is a matter, it sounds like you sort of know it's right, but you just can't pull the trigger. You can't quite launch the bet. So this is a situation here, and this is just, I think, is going to come with experience. Basically, what it needs is we really need to have a good read on our opponent. So therefore, when this opponent, say, you know this opponent, whatever he does, you know that he always makes a continuation bet, say, for example. So, and you also know that in late position, he raises with a random number of hands. It doesn't matter. There's all sorts of hands he raises with. So now you can call his pre-flop raise, and perhaps you've ended up heads up against him. The flop comes. You can check. You know he's going to bet regardless, but this is a case where you say, there's no way if you hit this flop, pal. I know you haven't. So now you check. He now puts in his continuation bet. Now you re-raise him. So you've set it up like you've got a really big hand and you re-raise him. As happens, you haven't got anything, but you've just say, I am pretty sure that you have not connected with this flop. And now you represent you've got a big hand. So therefore, as in making a bluff, and this is a bluff, but as in making a regular bluff, what we have to do is to make sure that our play fits the storyline. So the storyline we're putting across is that we have got a very big hand. And we want to get more money with it. That's why we're check raising with it. So we're representing that we've got a good hand. So when you do this play, what I would say to yourself is actually, in your mind, put yourself on the sort of hand that you really would make that play with. So therefore, if this would be like trip threes or whatever it is,
yeah.
in your mind say, I've got trip threes, I've got trip threes. And now, really think, how would I play trip threes?
Yeah.
And now play it exactly as you'd play this hand that you've put in your mind.
Right.
And then put the size of the bet and everything you would do with that hand.
Okay.
And now, your storyline will have some credibility.
Gotcha. That's very sound advice. Fantastic advice. Wow, we've got another email. Should we do another email?
Definitely.
I think people out there are needing the poker advice. Probably not as much as I do, but still, I mean, you know, people like this sort of thing. So where we go, this one's from Jacob, and Jacob says, "Hi guys and gals." James, actually that makes me think, are you having a little bit too much to drink? Because there is only one of each of us.
Yeah,
so if you're seeing double at this point, Jacob, step away from the computer. No more poker for you. Right, he says, "Hi guys and gals. James, my challenge is to play 100 550 single table tournaments, only playing ace-ace, king-king, queen-queen, or a combination of the three. I will also limp in late position with small pocket pairs, raising with big ones, and suited connectors. This is a great test of skill versus luck, and it follows on from your comments of yesterday regarding my losing 15 single table tournaments in a row. Every single one lost to idiots playing very poor cards." You sound a bit bitter there. Yeah. For example, calling all-ins with queen 5 and 6-2 and getting lucky on the river, and that does hurt. I can understand why you'd be a bit bitter about that. I'll email all the results in a week or so, and I could even come into the studio to discuss the results. Well, you know what? We'd love to get an email from you about this, definitely. So let us know how this goes, because it's always kind of interesting to see.
Yes,
you know,
well, I like the way you're thinking here anyway. And also, he did put his email last night, and already he's taking something from it. Because I said to him there last night, there's no point looking over a short trial. So therefore, we've got to at least extend this trial. So at least what he's doing now, he said, I'm going to look at 100. And that's great thinking, because now the short term doesn't matter anymore. So now also, you're going to go and play, and you're going to play very, very solid format, just to see how this format works. And it's a pretty good format that you've made there. The only thing is, make sure that when you do get down to the nitty-gritty, when you do get to the last four in a bubble situation, make sure that you have the right amount of aggression there. Fight the people who are trying to hang on, take advantage of that. Then once you make the last three, don't bother going for second place, go for first place. So therefore, the one tactic I would have there is, in this sit and go, initially aim for the top three. When you make the top three, forget about second place and go for first. That is, I think, will fit in well with that strategy you've put together.
Okay, that's
so. But I'd love to hear the stats on it and all the. You know, I like your thinking. I know you've had a bad run, Hutchie lad, but the way you're thinking, I think the future's bright for you still. I think you're going to be fine, because I think you're tackling the problem and you're tackling the game with the right type of thinking. So I'm still confident in you, even though you've had a bad run.
Yeah, oh, there we go. And it's always interesting to see what will happen in these sorts of situations. Setting up yourself, it's like doing tests on poker. It's like a scientific experiment. So yeah, do let us know what happens, because I would be very interested to find out. Right, another one here. This one's from Hutchie Lad.
Oh, sorry.
I think that was Jacob before.
Oh, Jacob. Sorry, Jacob. Sorry.
No worries. Yeah, this is from Hutchie Lad. Hutchie Lad says, "Hey guys, great show as usual. As nice as James is, I have to say I prefer." Right, he says, "I much prefer Canadian women." Oh, well, there you go. So sorry, James. This one's not one of your fan clubs.
I think you're a good judge.
He says he didn't want to leave me hanging without a compliment. So you could feel my pain, obviously, and my shame at how badly I played. But, there you go. Plus, your excuse for not concentrating is very understandable, he says, but it's still just an excuse. Seriously, I should have played better than that. It was absolutely awful. But he says, Hutchie Lad says, "I've suffered a 9-hour flight to and from Vancouver, which is not nice. After all this, I have a quick question. Basically, have you got any tips for managing a large stack in the later stages of a tournament? Cheers," from Hutchie Lad. Well, there you go. So, yeah, it's a long trip back from Vancouver, but I gotta be honest, I was sitting on the plane right before the takeoff, and the baby sat next to me, threw up all over my lap. No, seriously. Baby was crying. The mother was jiggling it, trying to make it stop crying. It just vomited all over me. And the flight crew were so nice. They came up to me. They helped me clean up, and they put me in business. So I actually ended up sleeping in business class for the rest of the trip. So as much as I'm jet lagged, that is just an excuse.
It's nicer to get pampered than Pampers.
Yes, exactly. You know what? That's not a bad thing. So business class, the only way to fly, even if you're covered in baby vomit.
It's a good way, yeah.
Right, now Hutchie
Could set that up, actually.
Yeah, I know. Just give the baby a bit of a jiggle. Right, now we're going to be going to a break, so the answer for this will be coming after the break. So make sure you stay tuned for more great poker action and the answer for Hutchie Lad's email.
Hang in there, Hutchie.
Hello and welcome back to the final hour here on Poker Night Live. We've just taken a look at a very badly played tournament by myself, by yours truly. I'm beating myself up a little bit here because it was rubbish.
You're taking away...
Yes, 3 really good pointers for next time.
Exactly.
And I will start to focus a bit better. I think I lost my focus because someone actually in the chat box was telling me I looked a little hefty. And they asked me if I ate quite a bit on holiday.
Wow.
Which... I gotta say, it kind of threw me a little because I am, you know, a girl and a little vain and ouch. So there you go. So that's my other excuse. That and jet lag. And I can't remember who it was. And I don't want to get the name wrong and say, you know, something derogatory about someone else.
Okay.
But anyways, there you go. I was terrible.
Ooh, I see. That's a way to get at you, isn't it? Wow.
I know. Shocking. Shocking. Anyways, here we go. We have an email from Toby. Toby says, hi, guys and dolls.
Oh, Kara, there's one here. It says, we're lucky we had widescreen. That's terrible. You shouldn't say that.
Oh, that's so mean. Funny, though. Widescreen. Right. Anyways. Email from Toby here, a real one. Hi, guys and dolls. A great show as always. Well, gee, thanks. I've only recently started playing online and do not have enough money to make deposits a lot, but I'm trying to start to play in low-stake cash games at the 10-cent, 20-cent level. I don't have a big bankroll, usually only having enough for the maximum buy-in until I win more. So can you give me a few pointers to make money in these games? How many big blinds should I sit down with? 10 or 6-seat tables? How long should I play on one table before moving? That's a very common question we get quite a bit here. And should I move around? And anything else that you think might be helpful. So this is from Toby. He says, thanks in advance. A new player, what should he do to make a little bit of money at small stakes cash games?
Okay, so can you just give me what his levels were again?
He's playing at 10-cent, 20-cent level. And he's usually only has enough for the maximum buy-in.
Right. Basically... it's a bit scary, but you should really have, to play properly, to be properly bankrolled, you should probably have 40 times the maximum buy-in at a table. That is to put this back into reality. That is to withstand the fluctuations. So really, that's how, and if you've got that, then you play comfortably, because then you can be in a hand, you can lose all your chips, you can buy in for the maximum again, you can keep on playing proper poker. So that is, in reality, is where we should be. And people generally probably are playing under bankrolled. Now, it's difficult because 10-20 is probably about the, I think we were looking before, it's often about the lowest stake, isn't it?
It usually is, yeah.
Yes. So
yeah.
We've got to learn somewhere. Listen, okay, I mean, you basically don't move up for a start to another level until you've actually reached that level you should have, which is 40 times the maximum buy-in. So there's something for you to start with. So that's one part of the aim. So don't think you're going up to another level until you've got there, because you are now going to need 40 times that next level you go up to. That's your target. So stay here until you've accomplished it. What was his other question regarding?
He said any other kind of advice about...
He was asking something about... Can you give a flashback to it? Sorry,
give a flashback there. He also says, how many big blinds should you sit down with? 10 or 6-seat tables? And how long to play before moving?
Right, I think you should sit down with the maximum of the table because it gives you your full artillery. It means, you can win... I know it's difficult on the cheap tables. Maybe they don't pass as much, but you have the chance maybe to ask the big question, get people off a pot, as well as having the best hand. Also, I think if they're playing very wild on the cheap table, then you should play the opposite. You should be a contrarian, so you should play very solidly. And therefore, you want to play tight, aggressive. So therefore, you're playing solidly and you're looking for a situation in a cash game to be able to get all your money in a really good situation. And if they beat you that time, you wait next time to try and do the same thing. That's why we need this good bankroll. But that's what we're looking for. We're looking for the situation to have the really big hand and get all our money in there and say, come on, let's play now. That's what we're looking for. And that's in any level. So in this game, if they're wild, you play, be the contrarian, be solid, play against it. Moving on tables, listen, if you found a good table and these guys are playing very badly and you're winning, you stay there, because if they're losing, they're probably going to start going on tilt and playing even worse. You're winning, you're probably playing very selectively and you're full of confidence. So I wouldn't be at such a rush to win. If you really build up your bankroll at that table a lot, it depends if you're matched by other people. I did read an interesting article the other day where it said that if you get your money up too high, it's out of proportion to your bankroll again, and perhaps you should stop and move on and go to another table with just a normal buy-in again. In your situation, if you're a bit under bankroll, that might be probably reasonable advice as well. We did miss a second half of an email before. We promised to answer him.
You know what? You're absolutely right. We were
I
looking
think
at...
he's hanging on there, and I think it'd be bad not to answer it.
I think you're right. That was Hutchie Lad.
You're right,
you're right. Believe.
Oh, you're working well.
And he says...
Well done, Kara.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Any tips for managing a large stack in the later stages of a tournament? So there you go. Quite a basic... or a straightforward question, anyway. Straightforward
Managing
question.
a large stack in the later stages of a tournament. Right. Very important here is not to go over the top with it. Sometimes people just think, oh gosh, I've got to try and steal every pot and to go potty. You mustn't do that, because then you lose credibility and people then start being too brave against you. What you still want to do is to be you've got a lot of chips, so you can play a few more hands, but you don't have to bet so much, because you're representing a big raise because you've got all those chips behind you. So people aren't that keen to tangle with you. What you should be trying to do is, again, not getting into showdowns with them, but you should be basically strangling them. You should basically be squeezing the chips out of them, pushing them off pots, taking their blinds down, adding them to your big stack. So they're just sort of wittering away there slowly, slowly. You're grinding them down. So you should grind the opposition down there, but again, by not risking huge lumps of your stack. So basically, you're starving them of oxygen until they wither and die.
Ooh, that's very poetic of you. But don't you also have to be quite careful what you play against, even a small stack? Because if you play
a rubbish
card...
do. That's what I said. You don't want to overplay. I sometimes see large stacks trying to play every hand. That's no good.
And you're just going to get people
you
doubling
still have
up.
to, but you look for your opportunities where you say, I don't think they'd enjoy playing this one. And again, you attack the blinds, etc., etc. Where you think you can exert pressure and get them to pass, you look for those opportunities. Then, of course, if you ever do find a big hand, well, of course, you want to get in on that one, and then... obviously hope to take down a big pot.
And there you go. Okay, well, that's some great advice for cash and tournaments. So we are going to go right now to a tournament. This is the final table of our multi-table tournament. So let's take a look and see who is on that final table. Okay, oh, there we go.
And it's the two Ronnies. And Pershaw, Crazy Gum, we saw him earlier. Zorro has arrived. And we're down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 runners. The last person out, he got $55. And the next person out is going to get $71 or $71.50.
Yeah, so it was Phantom66 who went out in 7th place, and Antic went out in 8th.
Right, so we'll give them a little shout. Well done for getting to the final table, guys.
Absolutely.
We didn't see how you died, but let's hope you played properly.
Yes, I'm sure it was a blaze of glory.
You could have had the marker Z put on your chest by Zorro.
Yeah. You know who hasn't emailed back in?
I do.
Oh no, and he's heartbroken. So Flirty Liz, how could you? Flirty Liz, if you were out there and you're listening to my voice, just, well, I'm a bit shocked. You know, I know that a lot of women out there do the whole treat them mean, keep them keen thing, but I don't think James deserves, you know, the hot and cold treatment here. So, that's just my opinion on the matter. No more email from Flirty Liz, that's a shame.
The Loyalist on the
Yeah.
small blind makes it up. Got a big stack there, so the two Ronnies, not too keen in getting too chirpy maybe. Well covered by the Loyalist. The Loyalist, look at this. Really using that stack and starved the two Ronnies there.
Yeah.
Found an opportunity. That's what I was talking about. Looking for an opportunity just to sort of grind them down. Can I make them pass? Yes, I think I can. Grind them down. And of course, if there was any opposition from the two Ronnies, he wouldn't have committed any more chips because he knew he didn't have anything.
Yeah, and the Loyalist, even if he got a bit of opposition, he could put it down without having risked too much of his stack. It's great.
That's what he was. That's his point.
Yeah.
So that was a good use of the big stack there from the Loyalist. Two Ronnies now. He's got the top pair.
Taking no chances. He wants to just get rid of everyone else.
Well, he's happy to take this down. And there you are. He's got 14,000.
Yeah, they're playing for a first place prize of $330. So
The average stack now is 27,750. So interesting enough, we've only got three players. Hey, we've got three. No, actually, as we'd expect, 3 players above average. 3 above, 3 below, probably as you'd expect. And 80 babes, 7-9. Blinds are 1,000, 2,000. So quite a bit of play here still. Two Ronnies obviously getting a bit worried. Just got 7 big blinds. And has got an M of round about 5, which is the signal to start getting worried. The M being the total amount of the blinds divided into your stack. So let's just round him up to 15,000. The blinds per round is 3,000. So he's got an M of 5. The M, which was quoted in Harrington's book and is named after, or came from, Paul McGreal. And it's the M for Paul McGreal.
That's so nice. I love that because Paul is one of my favourite people.
And I'm looking forward to this, but I hear that I think Paul McGreal is going to be bringing a poker book out.
Oh, fantastic. You know what? I just bought his book on backgammon, the beginner's one. I found a really nice old hardback.
Oh, the big one, the original classic book. Oh, it's a great book.
Yeah, oh no, it's his beginner's backgammon.
Oh, the beginner's book. Oh,
but
I didn't see that
I found it in a second-hand shop, hardcover, and it's a really old edition, and I just thought, oh, I must have this. So next time I see Paul, I'm going to get him to sign it for me.
I've got his original one in hardback, black cover, signed by him.
Very nice. He's a lovely man. I'm a big fan of Paul McGreal's. Great backgammon player, and a very good poker player as well.
Very bright guy.
Oh my, yes.
Pair of 10s, the Pershaw.
Yeah, there we go. So our green board is showing us all the action for the multi-table tournament. One of the nice things about a multi-table tournament is that you do get that extra play, as James was saying, because the blinds go up slower, and you do have so many chips usually at this stage, and it's nice to be able to see the last, 4 or 5
Oh, it's
players.
great, and even when you get to the heads-up area, you get some play.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's nice to be able to see that. There's not quite as much of the panic playing as sometimes happens in a sit and go.
Well, the Loyalist is really doing well, isn't he? He's got 72,000 here.
Yeah.
And he's heading towards that magic 82,500. And that's magic because that would be half the chips. If you ever get over half the chips, it means that whatever happens to the rest of the opposition, even if they all put their chips together, they can't overtake you.
That's a good position to be in.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
And it's a raise from King 4. Well, the Pershore. What do you feel about his King 9?
What's he thinking now?
What do you think about 80 Babes? Is he capable of making such a move with a King 4? Is he under pressure himself? Well, he probably is. Tough decision.
Do you think that was a wise move there, going all in with King 4? 80
Babes made a very good play. He's done the re-raise and he's represented a big hand and he's carried it off. He convinced Pershore that Pershore believed the story. And he's got 9 big blinds. He's got an M of 6. He thought maybe he could find a better position for his money. I mean, generally, in the principle he's probably thinking of, this is difficult. We can see this here. We think, goodness, why don't you call? Because it'd be great. But that's because we can see what's going on. We've got to just think how it would feel if we didn't know. So, generally in poker, the principle stands, and that is, it is generally far better to be a better than a caller.
Yeah.
Because when you bet, you have fold equity. And as well as having the actual chance of that hand winning and standing up on merit, you have the chance that someone might put the hand down. And there we saw it. We saw that the Pershore actually put down far the better hand.
Yeah.
That was massive fold equity that 80 Babes captured.
Yeah. So smarter the better than the raiser, or smarter the better than the caller.
Yes. And 80 Babes was a re-raiser there, so that's an even more powerful breed of better.
Yep.
So you've got your ordinary better and you've got the re-raiser. He's the
Uber player.
Yes, the Uber player. Predominant member of the species.
Now, it always amazes me the focus that the people in multi-table tournaments must have to get through a good few hours sometimes of poker play, to get to the final table and then continue to play in a focused, measured, considered manner.
Yeah.
Really thinking through all those questions, like you said, all the things you need to think about.
Myself, it's my favourite. The longer the tournament, the better I like it.
Yeah? Do you find your groove? You just quite get focused in there?
I just feel I can pace myself. I think, even though I might be older than some of them, I think I've got good stamina and I like it.
Yeah.
I liked it in Austria, 4-day tournament, 9 hours a day.
Wow.
I loved it.
Oh my
I liked
goodness.
it. Hour and a half each level, 10,000 chips, loads of play. I loved it. I loved it. I really felt confident I'd get through to the next day.
That's amazing.
And I ended up 21st. It was okay, small profit, but I was in the chance where, just a few hands away from maybe getting into some serious money. But I do like that structure, and I feel that for me, I think it's the opportunity for people to make lots of mistakes.
Ah, yes.
So, and I think there's so much more play there. So therefore, although it'll end up still coming to similar situations where the structure will sort of break down, it'll get very fast, and you will have to be sort of pushing a lot. There'll be lots of phases of the tournament where there's a lot of play in the hands. And I like that. So for me, the longer the structure, the better. I mean, I love 2-day tournaments, 3-day, 4-day tournaments. Basically, tournaments with a good structure, I like.
You know what? I think that, I've never played a multi-table myself. That's something I've done as yet, but I think you're right. It gives you that leeway to make those moves, to kind of find a groove maybe without being pushed by the blinds going up so rapidly.
And in those long structured tournaments, you've really got to have the ability to be able to put a hand down as well.
Yeah, you absolutely do. Now, people all over the world know more and more and more about Texas Hold'em, and it never ceases to amaze me. I'll be in the most random places, and I'll overhear these snatches of conversation, and they'll be about poker.
Really?
And I wonder if I just didn't notice it before because I wasn't involved in poker, or if it's just getting to the point where it's Oh, look at this.
Ace 10 against Ace 10. We've had 80 babes put in the first raise, and now we've got 2 Ronnies. Okay, he is suited, but no big difference. Re-raising, actually with the same hand. And I think we're going to see 80 babes put it down, and he does. And there we go. So there we go. So 80 babes get someone to put their hand down, and now someone's made him put it down because the re-raise is even more powerful than the raise.
Yeah, and it just goes to show. Absolutely.
But now, when you're playing at that table, and if you ever get a chance to see the cards, well, then you realise that the type of hands they're capable of doing it with.
Yep.
And you go, my goodness, 80 babes can put a raise in with King 4, and he can do it with Ace 10 suited.
Yeah.
So we now know what level they are prepared to do these moves with. And when we know that, then, of course, going back to our pair of queens or whatever, the pair of queens obviously will be calling those re-raises because they say there's a wide amount of hands that you can do this with.
So there's a better chance that you're going to be going up against a weaker
hand. If you were in the early stages of a 4-day tournament and you've put a raise and someone re-raises and you've got queens, the queen is like an easy pass. I chuck it like without a thought.
Yeah.
Because
it's not worth it, is it, for that risk?
I don't want to guess. There's so long left in the tournament. Why do I want to say, am I right, am I wrong, am I right, am I wrong? Oh, it's a coin flip. I don't want to be there. Plenty of chips. I can afford to pass it. Yeah. But in a sit and go or in the final of a tournament, time is running out. So therefore, our decisions are different because it's time dependent, chip dependent.
Yeah, I can see why you like these long tournament structures. Absolutely. They give you that leeway too.
Yeah, well, also because then a sit and go player playing in a slow structured tournament, he's playing it like he's playing a sit and go. He's playing incorrect strategy. He's playing fast and loose, and he's going to crash and burn.
Yeah.
Because he'll be caught by other people who realise it's a long haul tournament. They're waiting there with monsters.
Yeah.
And he walks in with a pretty good hand. Not good enough, pal.
Yeah.
And he's dead. So that's why these tournaments, I mean, that's why I like them. Because in a long haul tournament, a 4-day tournament, you're going to get eventually all the different facets of play.
Yes. Oh, yeah. You really will see so much. Do people take notes in live games, like live tournaments like that? No, you're not.
No.
So you have to. It's all up in your head, all mental.
You're not allowed to take notes at the table.
Why?
You're just not allowed to write notes about a play at the table.
Okay.
In fact,
seen as rude,
very strict in Sweden.
Really?
In Sweden, you're not allowed to have an iPod.
Really?
At the table.
Oh.
You're not allowed to have a phone, and you're not allowed to take notes.
Wow.
And if you smoke, you've got to go into this cubicle in the corner of the room, a see-through cubicle with 2 extractors, and you go in there and smoke.
Like an exhibit in a zoo.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And you get lots of that species go in there together and sort of mingle together and smoke together. I mentioned to Nick last night, but they do seem to smoke very fast. They really do. They seem to smoke about 5 times as fast. Wow. Now, whether they want to get back to play poker or whether it smells a bit now, I'm not sure. But
Ooh. Yuck. It must be.
But Kerry, you're a good girl, aren't you?
I am.
Why are you a good girl?
Oh.
Come on.
Well, this is terrible. Because,
not terrible, it's good.
Well, it's good, but it's terrible that I used to be a smoker. And I gave up just over a month ago. I gave up on St. Patrick's Day. Cold turkey, absolutely nothing. And I'm quite proud of myself.
And so you should be. Very good.
Yeah. Yeah, I got
kind of... So you could laugh at these people in this plastic cubicle in Sweden now.
Oh, I still couldn't even look at them, to be honest. It would make me want to have one. So I think I'd have to turn my chair the other way. I'm strong, but not that strong.
Anyway, well done.
Thank you.
Oh, look at this, Zorro. Zorro's picked up American Airlines. He's on the small blind. Actually, interesting to see what he does here.
King 9 might
want
to...
he plays this. Yeah. Look at this, baby raise. He's suckered the Pershaw into this one. I like it because with aces, you don't get them very often. And in this final, he wants to play against someone. One opponent with aces is lovely. There you go. He's very sure he's winning. He's got 2 pairs, and but Pershaw had none of it. And Zorro obviously hoping he had a big pair, Pershaw, or had a pair of 10s or something, but wasn't to be. But at least he got something out of it. He tried to get some play out of it. I'm on my travels again tomorrow, Kara.
I know. Where are you going? Tell everyone where you're going.
I'm going to Slovenia.
Wow.
Which I haven't been there, to Nova Gorica, or Gorica. I think it'll be Gorica. Okay. Sounds nicer, doesn't it? Slovenia. and it's on the border of Italy. I fly to, it's a bit further away from Nova Gorica than I thought. I fly to Treviso in Venice.
Beautiful.
And then I believe that they're meant to be picking me up at the airport, but I'll believe it when I see them.
I love your jet set lifestyle. It's wonderful.
So I'm going to be there for, I think, 8 days.
I hope the weather's good for you.
Yeah, I had a little look on the internet. It looks like it was 73 or something yesterday, so I'm going to take my tennis racket and my swimming trunks.
Nice. May you hit all your flops.
Yes. Well, there's going to be quite a few tournaments, so I hope to do something. Ace King. 2 pairs.
Ouch, and the Loyalist stack has shrunk.
Yep, and 80 Babes has gone big chip leader.
Wow. That's a reversal of fortune if I ever saw one.
So you haven't been to Slovenia?
No, I've not been nearly as many places as you have. You well-travelled man, you. Yeah. Definitely. It sounds interesting to me, though. And I love Italy. And it's right on the border with Italy.
It is on the border with
I'll
Italy,
bet it's beautiful. And the people will be warm and friendly. And hopefully the sun will be shining.
Sounds good.
It really does. And speaking of warm and friendly people, Mr. Ace, I'm guessing that's probably J.K. Ace.
Okay.
Who's usually very kind to me. Sent in an email and just said that I might have lost a sit and go, but they still think that I'm, you know, a good person.
I'm
so
going to
that's
read
good.
it. What he said, but we still think you're great and very cute and sweet.
Well, he's probably drunk. It's quite late and it's Saturday night. So, well, you know.
That's nice, isn't it?
It is nice. And thank you, Mr. Ace.
There you are. You've eased her pain.
Yeah, that's lovely.
But I tend to agree with you, Mr. Ace.
Oh, bless. Well, thanks for that.
The Pershaw, Ace Queen. And he just sets himself in there. And that's fine. And the blinds are very meaningful now. He just captured 4,500, which was very significant for his flop. For his stack, rather. And he did the right thing. He just pushed his chips in. But look at this. We've got on the big blind 2 Ronnies. American Airlines.
Ooh.
And 80 Babes is going to pay some money here.
I think
Watch
so.
this. How much is he going to raise? He's going to raise 12,000. Bit chunky. Wow. Now 2 Ronnies is going to get all his chips in. That's a problem there with 80 Babes. He's better than amount. If you look at what either of those players have got, he is setting them all in, basically. He can't pass now.
No. Wow.
And it's trips for 2 Ronnies. And look at that.
Ooh.
Well in the game again. Absolutely well. Gone into good second place. 80 Babes didn't give himself a chance. It was difficult for him against that size stack. I suppose he could have done, as his big stack, he could have done the 3 with 3.
Yeah.
But even then, maybe he would still probably call the re-raise. But that is a possibility. He could have left the door open for himself to get away. As I said, the big stack one can sometimes put in a flat raise because they say, look, I've got all these chips anyway.
Yeah.
And they can ask a question.
Yeah.
But it was difficult because it was just the amount of money. It was an awkward amount of money 2 Ronnies had.
Right.
The perfect situation for 2 Ronnies, find a hand when he had the aces. Because Ace Jack, of course, was quite big on the button. And pair of 8s, Mr. Pershaw. Yes, I like it. You've got to push. You don't want to be seeing flops. It's not a good pair to play with because you get frightened of the overcard. So you've asked the question. You'll be happy enough just to take the blinds. Or take a bit of extra money there as well on the button. Sorry, beg your pardon. From the 2 Ronnies. And that's got you over the 20,000 again. And unbelievably, it's the Loyalist bringing up the rear here with 10,000.
Yeah, that's surprising. Things can really turn around.
And the Pershaw has just made up the small blind there. And, oh, 80 Babes waiting. Look at that, full house, 3 5s and 2 2s. And Pershaw's hit the ace. Uh-oh.
Ooh. Well done, Pershaw.
Wowee. Very good.
Yeah, that's...
Zorro. Sorry.
I was going to say, that's some discipline.
Yeah. Well read. 80 put it down. Loyalist clawed himself back up to 11. Ooh, he's found a hand now on the small blind. You like that? It looks like gold dust at this time. And how's he going to play it? Yep, Orlinsky. Okay, well that's fair enough. He could well have got an ace-jack to call him, which would have been nice. Or take down the blinds is nice, 4,500. Nearly a third of his stack. Or increased it by about a third rather, nearly. A question for Zorro. Decides to refrain from calling. Zorro a bit in pressure as well.
Yeah, 16,000 chips. You've got a few of them there that are feeling the pinch.
Yeah, we've got 3 struggling really. Zorro, Pershaw and the Loyalist. And the Loyalist, I think you'll see him push, he does.
Ah, yes.
And the 3s have passed, good decision. That's a decision where if they're against a pair, he's a big underdog. If against overcards, he's a small favourite. He decided he respected the razor and passed. That was good. Good play with the small pair there. Good decision. We'll be interested to see when Pershaw does use his chips. Will he use it as a better? That's what we hope he's going to do. 80 babes. He could pressurise here and does so. And that's what I was talking about.
Yeah.
The big stack strangling the smaller stacks, squeezing the blinds away from them, not getting to showdowns, just taking. Because when you take 3,000 away from him, that's significant. It's a big percentage of his stack.
Yeah, it really is.
And you're not risking anything because you've just taken it end of hand. And you haven't created a fence at the Grand National.
Ah, I like this analogy. I do. I think it's a great analogy.
Do you think this could catch on like the King Queen?
I think you could write a whole book on this.
Oh.
I think it's a great analogy. I think it's a really good thing to keep in mind as well. It's a good principle. You just, you squeeze, you look for those chances.
Yes.
Because it's not going to be all the time. Like you were saying, you've got to look for the chances, and when they're there, you just capitalize. Don't play rubbish, but definitely go in. Oh, the Loyalist has just lost a lot.
Yeah, and that was tough for him. He's got ace-king with not so many chips, and tough situation. Down to 1,000.
I know how you feel.
But he's decided to let that hand go and thinks he'll have a better hand on the random hand in the big blind. Let's see if he gets one. Well, he just wants to be against one person, have a chance of it. Oh dear, the 10's there. He's gonna.
No, yeah.
He's a goner.
That is it.
And the Loyalist is gone.
And unfortunately for everyone else, 80 babes is the one that took his money.
So the Loyalist there got, I think, $88. Yes, 80 babes is heading towards that. In fact, he's done it. He's over half the chips.
Yeah, that's a lot of chips.
He's got there over half the chips.
And now let's see if he continues to squeeze the others out.
And this is a good one. It's not the great one to squeeze there because Pershaw was on the big blind and he didn't have many chips left. So you want to have a bit of a hand to fight him because he might just suddenly decide to put the rest of his chips in anyway.
Yeah.
So that's why that's a case where you be selective. That is looking at the opposition when you measure whether this is the right time to attack or not. That's one of the things you have a look at.
Okay. Yeah, what do you think they're going to do in response? What are you looking for them to do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pershaw there, collects. Well, that's what's he going to do. Is he going to push? We can see there's a whole ace king there, but he doesn't know it. He's pushed. I see nothing wrong with that. I think he made the right play.
Yeah, despite the fact that there's an ace king.
Yeah.
How could he know?
He couldn't know. He made the right play. He's done a flat raise just to get rid of the others. Oh, he's got a flush draw.
Ooh, oh.
And he's hit the 5. Oh my
at
goodness.
that.
He had the flush draw, but he hit a 5 on the river.
Wow.
There we go. Well, he got lucky, but I think he made the right play. I think it was the right time to push anyway.
Yeah.
And that just shows you what can happen.
Mm-hmm.
But he got lucky, but he made the right play. Now he's got the second pair. But look what he's against. Oh, no. He's against He's against the house of fives. And he has got two pairs. And I think you drive me crazy there. What's happening?
We appear to have lost our own feed.
Well, we seem to be having a problem. Okay.
Okay. Now,
We seem to have lost the picture there.
I'm going to just read an email over.
Oh, hang on. Okay, so we've got AD Babes there with the house of fives. He's got 3 fives and 2 jacks. I'm sorry, but that was one of our monitors went absolutely potty. But there's AD Babes. He's broken the 100,000 now.
There we go. Yep, we are back in the game, in case anyone noticed that. We were a bit flustered there for a moment. We had a bit of a technical problem with our monitor, but we are back in the game. There we go. So, ace against ace.
And he's, wow.
Yeah.
See what happened?
There we go. Pushed him right off. And he's got a pair with an ace kicker.
There we go. Oh, Zorro's called.
Wow.
How much did he have there? I missed. Did he have much left? He couldn't have had much left.
Couldn't have had much left.
No.
Wow.
So, another one gone. He was just trying to pressure him, but in fact, he ended up knocking him out. And we've got 80 Babes there, big chip leader. Been playing well when he's got the chips. $9,000, raising from the button. And takes that one down. Squeezed some more chips. Ace-4. Is he going to attack again? Yes, he has. He's attacked yet again. And now what's the ace-6 going to do? Oh, the ace-6 doesn't take any of it, and he's re-raised. But he's called with the ace-4. Neither hit the flop. Is AD Babes going to represent? He does.
Oh boy.
He's virtually set them all in. Ronnie says, I call anyway. You're not making me pass. King, king. Oh, what have we got there? It's a split pot. Split pot.
So the best hand there was most of the board. So.
Yes.
Yeah.
The kickers for the aces didn't come into play.
Yeah.
So there's the 2 Ronnies with ace-queen. And we can see a battle here, I think. Because AD's going to be aggressive again. He is. He's virtually setting him in. There we go. 3, 6, 7. Ace-queen out in front. Still out in front. Only a king and a jack.
Boy.
And 2 Ronnies is back in. AD Babes was desperate to finish him off as quick as he could.
Yeah.
But now it's backfired a bit now.
Wow. That's a danger, really. You can let the smaller stack double through.
Yes, I think when you have them down to that low level, you can sometimes, you don't have to just be whacking all the time. You can sometimes grind them down a bit more again.
Right.
Get away from a few, pick your bigger hand and go for the kill. Be a little bit selective still. You still have, there's a lot of play in this tournament still. It doesn't just have to be press all in every time.
Yeah. I think he's learned that lesson. He's decided to let that go.
Oh, he's got a hand now, a proper
boy.
hand. Now you can play. He's always playing, he's just calling. Well, he must fancy he's winning here. He's got the overpair, pair of 9s, and he does. He's made 12,000, and he got 2 Ronnies to pass. Okay, played that one very tamely. And look at this.
Oh
he's,
boy.
Getting cards. Oh, and look at this, lovely. He's been raised by the Queen 9, and he's just called it. Tricky play by AD Babes. I like it. The 2 Ronnies is hit the top pair. This is trouble. Is AD just going to call again? Would be good. Oh no, he can't resist it. Oh, he's done it. It doesn't matter. He's got him set in and he's hit the ace as well. Wow, well done. He played that aces pretty well. He certainly, I like the just call with it to start with. He disguised his hand. He was deceptive, very important in that stage of the game. The other guy hit the top pair, fell in love with it. End of story.
Wow.
A good tournament. The winner, AD Babes. Well done to the two Ronnies as well. You played well, but very good.
Yeah, absolutely. Not only were the two aces good enough to win that hand, he had the third ace, the final one.
The
of
icing
set there,
on the
just
cake.
to grind it in just a little bit more. Well, there you
Sweet
go.
when you hit it.
It is. Oh, it really is sweet when you hit it. I hit one earlier today. It didn't help me that much, but it does feel good when you hit a triple ace. There you go. Now that was our multi-table tournament for tonight. Now don't forget that tomorrow, actually later on today, because it is quite late.
Yeah, it is.
It's early in the morning at this point. We're going to be having another multi-table tournament. This one's going to be the qualifier for the Poker Night Live Poker Bowl, and the winners of the semi-final of that are going to actually come in and play live in the studio. So that's very exciting. So don't miss watching that tomorrow, because you're going to want to see that. I know I will as well. Now we do have a few emails.
Okay.
So shall we go straight to the emails?
Yeah, go on.
Okay, here we go. This one is from Big Jace. Big Jace says, "Hi, Kara and James," and hi to you, Big Jace. Said, "Great show as always. Glad to have you back over on the more intelligent side of the pond, Kara." Shocking.
Ooh.
That's shocking. Now, I don't know about more intelligent, but I gotta say, at least, I mean, the hairstyles are much better over here. I can't tell you how many mullets I saw in Canada. And seriously, and Tom Selleck mustaches, Magnum PI, everywhere you look. You know, I was in a small town, but even still, it's, you know, jeans tucked in, or a shirt tucked into jeans, and the cowboy boots, and the mustaches, and the mullets.
And what was their accent like? Oh, come on.
I can't do it.
Oh, please.
Well, they do
You
say
did it.
A. Well, no, they,
No, the one you
they
did.
thought I was, they didn't even think I was
How they
Canadian.
asked you, I like this,
They
you told me
said,
before.
"Are you from England?" I said, "No, I'm from Alberta," which is a province in Canada. And they were like, "You sound like you're from England, eh?" I can't do it.
No, you can.
I can't,
It's good.
no, that was
It is.
terrible.
It's good.
It was a small town, and as much as I totally love the place, and it's absolutely gorgeous, it is nice to be home, I have to say. Anyways, back to the email. Right, Big J's. I have a question for James regarding rounders competitions. There we go. I'm guessing you don't mean, you know, rounders. Anyways, today I entered one of these online and got through the first 2 rounds by playing the usual style that I use when playing $10 and $20 sit-and-go tourneys. For example, I played a solid, tight, aggressive game in the main, occasionally limping in the early levels with suited connectors, etc., and then making more aggressive moves as the blinds get bigger, depending on whose blinds I'm attacking, the relative chip stacks, etc.
Sounds good.
Yeah, it's good so far. However, I'm not sure if my usual style will work as well for the next few rounds. While I know that I have an edge when playing single table tournaments up to $20, I doubt that I'm good enough yet to make a larger buy-in single table tournament profitable. The next round in this rounders competition is a $112 buy-in. Can I expect the level of play to be similar to a $100 sit and go? Also, the prize structure is slightly different to that of a sit and go, and the top 4 finishers out of 10 win a buy-in to the next round, and the 5th place takes a consolation prize of a buy-in to the previous $25 buy-in round. Apart from the obvious fact that the bubble has moved, should this affect my play at all? I hope this makes sense. Also, any other general advice regarding rounders competitions would be much appreciated, as I'm sure I can't be completely correct in viewing them as just a series of single table tournaments. However, I know that my single table tournament game is far superior to my multi-table tournament game. So does this mean that rounders should be more profitable for me than multi-table tournaments are? Keep up the good work, guys, and thanks very much. And that is from Big Jace. Right, now that's a
Great email.
good email, yeah.
Very, very good email, Jace. Right, you do seem to be, you know, you're concentrating on sit and go, so therefore rounders is good for you because you're becoming, you know, that's your specialist subject in poker. You're learning all the time in it, so it's good for you to play them. Regarding once you got through the first 2 levels, the thing is, in that next level, although it's a more expensive sit and go than you normally play, people will have arrived there from the lower levels. So some of these players will be suffering the same thing. They're not used to playing that level. So therefore, I think this will average out, and I think you will find equity in there for yourself, because it sounds like, I like the principles you're playing to. I think it sounds like you're playing well. So I wouldn't worry about that too much, because as I said, some people will have just come through from the lower level, and they never normally play big ones. That's the thing of rounders, is a big mixture of people getting through to the latter stages. Because of that, at the very latter stages of these, you get some people who just buy in to these latter stages because they think that people will have made their way up, little fish will have made their way up, luckily, to the higher level. So they think they've got bigger value playing them. That's in the very latter stages of them. Regarding the playing strategy, when there's 4 prizes, of course, you are aiming, as I said earlier, and I'll recap, when you sit and go, basically, I think in principle, you aim for the top 3, and when you get to the top 3, you aim for number 1. That is generally the principle I think you should do. But you should aim for top 3. You should aim for 3rd place, and then change your gear to go for 1st. In this one, you've got 4 places, so therefore, as you said, the boundaries for the bubble have changed. And what it means is that in this tournament now, when someone gets knocked out, in fact, it increases your equity even more than normal, because there are 4 prizes. So therefore, your equity goes up more than normal. It gets an immediate injection of value. So if anything, in this early stage there, you should be really, well, make sure you're not wandering from your principles, which is possibly limping in with your suited connectors, small pairs, etc., but playing pretty tight, because if people there are playing any other way, they will probably be giving you equity. And if they get themselves killed early on, that's wonderful for you. And then you have an easier target to go for.
Okay, well there you go. That is for Rounders tournaments. And now we've got a question about multi-table tournaments. We'll get to this one. Right, this is from Graham, and he plays as Graham P. 1981. First of all, I would just like to say that I think James is the best presenter ever. It's a good way to start. That'll get your email read out. I love impressions, and I hope that you carry on doing this sort of stuff live on air. It's great. I've been watching the show on and off for ages, but recently started watching every night. Wow. I've only recently been playing on the TV sites, and I'm happy that I've been analysed on a few times. I hope you think I've done okay. I've been playing the MTT tournaments each night, and apart from coming 5th a few nights ago, I always seem to get to 15th-ish, just out of the money, and then have a really short stack, and I end up getting knocked out. Is there a point in the tourney like this where I should be playing looser hands, as I tend to play very tight, which works up to a certain point, as I just described? When is the best time to try and steal chips, and from what positions, etc.? Your views would be great, and a few more impressions, please.
Graham, thanks very much indeed. Yes, I have seen your name popping up on the screens quite a lot recently, and it's good to see you. Yes, I haven't got bad thoughts about your game when I think about it. Right, basically what we've got to do is a matter of, I think you're playing solidly earlier on. The thing is to be aware of when things have changed for us. And if we go card dead, that's normally the reason if we've been chugging along quite well. But suddenly if we go card dead, it's horrible, because even if we want to make a move, someone's made a move before us and our cards are not good enough to call a raise with. So you often get a situation where your cards might be good enough to make a raise with, but not good enough to call with. That's quite a common thing. So you can get this horrible situation that when you go a bit card dead, you can get really squeezed and get squeezed out of the tournament in a way, and your chips start to dwindle, and there's not a lot you can do about it. So what we have to be doing all the time is forever monitoring our shape, forever monitoring our position in that tournament. So therefore we should have our finger on the pulse. That's why I try to tell you back home there what the average chips is, etc., etc., because I want us trained to do this. Generally on most sites you play, you'll be able to get this information. So you should have your fingertips on, and even if you're playing a live game, they often have a screen. Keep your eyes on this. You want to have your fingertips on what the average chip stacks are. You can see virtually where they're spread around. You now want to look at the size of the small blind and the big blind, and therefore divide your stack by the big blind. So now you can translate into how many big blinds you've got. And one of the quick ones there is if you're down to 7 big blinds, now we're getting near the time where people still might well put a hand down for 7 big blinds because it's still meaningful for them. That's 7 big blinds. They could have, yeah, they can still put that down. So that's just about, below that it gets iffy because your fold equity disappears. The other thing you can do is add up your small blind and your big blind, divide that into your stack, as I said before. This will give you Harrington's M. And when your M gets down to 5 or below, there's only one move really, and that is you should be pushing all in. which increases your fold equity, and that is what you should be looking for. So be more aggressive when you get down to that stage, and I think you'll find some better results.
Okay, well that's all great advice for everyone out there. Sorry if we didn't get to your text or email. Apologies to Biss the Tull, Paul, Neil and Shirley. I do apologise, we just ran out of time. Thanks everyone for watching though, and I hope that you learned something. I know I did. I'm taking home my 3 principles here.
Good.
And hopefully the next time I'm back on, next week, I will use them in my game. It's been great working with you again.
I love
it,
Karen. Nice to have you back.
Good luck in your trip, and we'll see you all next time.